What's up, MPX addicts, and welcome to the MPX Rehab. I am your host, the hashtag Certified Mark, here with my co-host, as always,
the voice of the MPX addicts, Kyle Smith. You didn't say your name. They don't know who you are. They just know that you're the host. So
yeah.
you want to say your name?
Yeah, Jay Williams.
There we go.
Sorry, it's been a long day. But we've had a action-packed week of wrestling and everything like that.
We have a guest. You want to?
Give me a moment.
Okay.
Jeez.
I feel like we should take care of our guest.
We have had an action-packed week of wrestling in which we got to see
Texas legend.
Wrestling's Resurrection, and we also got to see MPX's Condemned right before the Purge. We're going to get to those, and also, of course, talk about what's going to happen at the Purge. It's going to be incredible.
Can I do it? Can I do it?
No.
Oh.
Some people are working. Gotta be nice. And of course, we're going to get to our guest tonight, the Gigolo, the Angel of Misery, the King of Texas Cruiserweights, James Johnson.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know what I liked more, the King of Cruiserweights or the Angel of Misery, because I really loved the Angel of Misery. That was so great.
I wish I was still a cruiserweight. That'd be awesome.
Oh, you're not the 215.
I was going to say, it's like haven't they proven lately that cruiserweight?
Well,
is a state of mind?
205.
Well, they went different. It was 215, 205.
Didn't it used to be like 225?
Then you had
it was like 225.
I was going to say, back in the day, and then you had the TNA where it was like, oh, we don't have weight limit. This is our cruiser division, but we don't have limits.
It's not about weight limits. It's about no limits.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you have no limits, the X division?
Right? Yeah, that's it. 100%.
Oh, that's right. You didn't really watch TNA, did you?
No, not a whole lot. It just honestly, it kept popping up and disappearing.
Ring of Honor Light with better production.
I thought the most ingenious thing was the octagon or the hexagon.
Yeah, six-sided ring.
Like, wait a minute.
Which is,
I got to wrestle in one of those. One of those. It was fantastic.
Oh, we're going to have to get to that story.
The ring sucked.
Mexican Bazaar.
God. No, I wish.
Oh, really?
Mexican Bazaar shows are the best wrestling shows. If you want to watch wrestlers who, A, really care about not caring, it's those shows. That's where wrestlers, like, they're going to try stuff out, and they're just going to be like, you know what I think would get over but would never work on any show? I'm about to do it. That's exactly what you see at those shows.
And I love how that's how Sky and Silver got started.
Hey, Sky and Silver.
I was there when they were discovered. So I have stories about that, too.
Awesome. I cannot wait to get to those. Yep. But let's go ahead and go with the recap and, of course, the preview for the Purge. At Red River Wrestling's Resurrection, that is a mouthful.
Really is. Triple R.
Resurrection.
Yeah. We got to see a title change hands. We got to see a match that we didn't get to see last month.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see, honestly, once again, have to give a shout out to Pat, our PR guy, for getting Mike Bennett. We actually got to talk to him, and that was awesome. But yeah, we got to see a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
Mike Bennett is one of the coolest people I've ever got to meet in wrestling. Mm-hmm. His story, like I told him after the show, his story and his Twitter, he's very much like Jackson. He's so inspirational. Mm-hmm. And while Jackson is global and everyone knows him, Jackson feels like ours because he is. And so we get that. And sometimes I forget how big and known Jackson actually is amongst the wrestling community and the world in general. And so to meet someone that Mike Bennett has the same values and same thought process, and it's sad to say Mike Bennett is kind of a bigger name. It's great to see people doing that. And his story, like I said, his story and his redemption it very is inspirational. So, to have him on the show and to talk to him a little bit was just amazing.
Yeah, honestly, I will always despise how WWE treated him for the short time that he was there. I don't blame him for basically having a breakdown and not wanting to go back to work after all.
And it's very weird, and Pat can attest to it. I've always said when I first saw Mike Bennett, oh, that's a WWE guy. He's not ROH. He's a WWE star. That is a guy that is built for WWE. Then he gets there, and they fuck it up, but he also kind of fails. and he goes out and he proves what he actually is. And I'm like, see, okay, fuck, that guy is amazing. He is a great talent. He is a great person. And you can tell he's one of those that loves the business and loves wrestling.
Yeah.
And those are the wrestlers I love. When you can tell they have the passion in the ring.
Yeah.
No matter who they're against, no matter the crowds, he's given 110%.
Yeah.
Now, think about Mike Bennett. That I have never met him, but I do know his story that you guys are talking about, and he's one of those guys that he's a rare breed, which is when every other person breaks down and crumbles and decides this is it, I'm not doing it. Somehow he found the one little sliver of positivity in that.
Yes.
And grew that and grew that and grew that to better himself, to get himself out of that position. All on himself. While the company is working against him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where I hate to admit it because I love the guy so much, but ACH, you can see the difference. When they broke ACH, they broke ACH. When they broke Mike Bennett, he goes, no, fuck y'all. I am good. I am the better person. I'm going to prove it.
But ACH has bounced back, so we're not going to be like talking
No,
about that at all.
and he has. But you can tell the difference in the ideologies where ACH did take that time. He took a little break. He's finally getting back into wrestling a little bit.
Yeah.
Where Mike Bennett, as soon as his 60 or 90 years or whatever was up, he goes, no, fuck y'all, I'm going to prove I'm the best.
Yeah.
And again, it is a different breed.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset.
Well, again, though, his mindset, he was broken while still being far under contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was broken with years left on his sentence and decided, all right, if you're going to put me in prison, I'm going to make this prison the coolest prison that's ever been. And he took himself and made himself that in that system, which I believe is even more incredible than the people that escape that system and prove why they are. He started proving why he was worth it while they still had the opportunity to fix their issues.
Yep.
And they continued to screw up.
Yep.
Exactly.
Which just gives, it's like, honestly, people talk about how it's like, oh, well, you bitch about the product, but you're still going to watch. And it's like, yes, because we keep hoping.
Well, that and it's,
hoping.
let's be honest, it's people, at least people like me, and I'm sure you too, we love wrestling. It doesn't matter if it's shitty wrestling that is so bad it's good, or if it's some of the best wrestling in the world.
Matt
if
doesn't believe that exists, by the way.
if it's wrestling in general, I'm going to watch it because in the end, I'm going to find something I love. Yeah, I may shit on a lot of it, but again, it's wrestling. I love it. I'm one of those weird ones. I can watch wrestling 8 to 9 hours a day and not get sick of it.
And that's why you're still willing to go to those shows that shall not be named.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those where I'll even tell you, I'm like, dude, this show's gonna be bad, and we go, and it's bad, but it's like, you know what? I still don't view it as a waste of time because there's some good things out of it. The fucking Mania show, that Thursday, I finally saw a good match of Reggie and Phil.
Yeah.
And it's something I hadn't seen before. I'm like, oh, y'all are actually good. Why don't y'all do this normally? And it's very weird when I sit there and say, hey, that was the best singles match of the show is Reggie Lincoln versus Phil Noir. And they're like, oh, haha. And I'm like, no. Off that show, they had the best singles match.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where, it kind of shows, the show sucks, but you see good out of it. You can actually see Reggie Lincoln and Phil Noir are good wrestlers. They just... Sometimes they don't get that opportunity.
I mean, hell, even 85 to 90% of our problem with Zawa, the Friday night show that we went to, was entirely because, of the attitude of some of the people that were there.
That, and let's be honest, some of that was the wrestlers, but also some of that was, it was that crowd just wasn't into it. And that, again, he can kind of attest to it. When a wrestler sees that, it's their job to kind of get the crowd into it. And the wrestlers, at least at that show, didn't feel like they wanted to get into it until later on. Like some of the like Dimitri and Damo, they tried to get people into that match. The tag match, and I forget their names now, because they're from Chicago and they were the champs. They were good, and they tried to get them into that match. The women's match.
Wait, are you talking the first match where it was Chicago's version of Marcus and Tyler Jett?
Yeah. And then you had the women's match where that women's champion she didn't give a shit. She's like, oh, y'all don't like me? Fine. Fuck y'all. And it's like, I get you're trying to be a heel, but you're going about it the wrong way. You're getting heat the wrong way. You're picking on, a kid that that entire crowd loves.
Yeah.
And
She chose the wrong
yeah,
target.
and you're going about it the wrong way.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like honestly, on the diatribe of what from Bennett to wrestling to.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, we're way off topic, but real quick,
Considering
Dimitri loves you, and he has your shirt, by the way, apparently.
Yes, I cannot wait for my Dimitri shirt. It's so great. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's Castlevania inspired. It's freaking amazing. It's got a bear trap on it. Everyone should check out Dimitri Alexandrov.
Yes.
He is Vladimir Putin's least favorite wrestler. The Russian bear fighter. Everyone check him out. If you don't know who he is, you should know who he is.
And he's one of those. He's always had great shirts. His shirts are always amazing.
I actually was debating on whether I was going to wear this or one of my Dimitri shirts. I've still got the Pin Pal shirt. I've got the Dimitri, the Headless Bear shirt.
We miss the Pen Pals.
I really wish that they had released a Barely Gentleman shirt with the
Yes.
logo. Like that, I would have bought that in a heartbeat. That was such a great logo.
It really was.
So great.
It's not too
really
late to
was.
have Barely Gentlemen come back, right?
Well, speaking of bears, let's go ahead and get back to Red River Wrestling. The first match of the night, Grizzled Brutality.
That's a bear.
Ryan Davidson, the bear.
And that's another match I'm surprised that's never happened. The Bear, Ryan Davidson, versus the Bear Fire Dimitri.
I would love to see that.
Why has people not booked that yet? Because,
I know.
that match would be fucking amazing.
Ryan Davidson is one of my favorite human beings on the planet.
Yep.
I knew him back in the day. I worked with him back in 2006, 2007 when he was Ruthless Ryan.
Yep.
And even then, he was something special.
Yes.
Now he is in a league of his own.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
He's
honestly, it's
Totally
like-
agree.
It's like I watch him in the ring and he's got that, that brutality and everything like that. And just at the same time, I just see something in him and go, it's like, he's the bear, Ryan Davidson, but he's a teddy bear outside the ring, I'm pretty sure. Unless you piss him off.
I mean, you could say the same thing for his partner, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, actually,
I wouldn't.
I was going to say, it's like, and of course, the lovely Shiva.
The queen.
Honestly,
Queen Shiva.
Yeah, Queen Shiva making her return. I mean, honestly, she's been back for a while, but honestly, it's great to watch her.
It was her return in
fully-
DFW.
Yeah, fully in action in the ring. Honestly, she had been out for a while because of an injury, and it took her a little while.
And let's be honest, it was an injury that she was supposed to be retired from. And to see, and I always, as a fan of wrestling, I always love wrestlers to come back, but I'm also worried. Like, I'll never forget when I met Edge at WrestleMania 32. I'm like, hey, sucks you're retired, but I'm glad you're fine and healthy. He's like, yeah, that's all that matters. I'm happy to be with my kids, blah, blah. And that's great. And then he came back. I'm like, it's awesome you're back. I'm terrified. Same with Brian Dennison. I'm terrified as fuck. It's like, I'm glad y'all are back because y'all are amazing, but life is for wrestling. Yes, wrestling is great, but wrestling needs to be secondary. Y'all are still people.
I agree with you 100% on that, but I will say that Shiva herself, along the same lines, let's not go off on a diatribe again, but along the same lines as Bennett, has refocused, redefined, and rebuilt herself better than ever. She's in some of the greatest shape I've ever seen her in. She's in a great place as far as I can tell, emotionally, physically, mentally, and that is when we as professional wrestlers really grow. Is when you have to have all three of those. You have to be in a good place mentally, emotionally, and physically in order to do any growing.
And I mean, we're going to talk about it later. You've gone through that a couple times. Where, I mean, you've had that where you've left and then you've come back better, and something happened, you left again, but you've come back better. And that's, again, I think that's, we'll talk about it later, but that is something that you definitely have experience with.
Even your last appearance at MPX, you looked really good, in my opinion.
No, I think I even leaned over to you after sometimes I was like, oh, he hadn't lost a step. Fuck.
I was like, we all know that you're going to hate your own work because, that's wrestling.
I was going to say, you're a wrestler. You
gonna
hate
your own
yourself.
That has nothing to do with it, but just keep going. Keep going.
But yeah, Grizzled Brutality taking on B.D. Brawley and Johnny Lyons, who you keep saying Johnny Swole.
I swear that used to be his name when he was Pump Patrol, was Johnny Swole. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, Johnny, is it Johnny Lyons now?
Johnny Lyons, it's short, built like a brick house, blonde.
It's Baby Dalton.
That might be Johnny Swole.
See, that's what I thought.
Wait, how big is he, though? Is he, like, really massive? Like, really?
Not like
Not
hugely
like a
massive,
lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
God, Look up Johnny Swole and see if it's him.
I
Johnny
saw-
Swole was named Johnny Swole for a reason.
I saw pictures of Johnny Swole, but he had a buzz cut
no,
and his darker hair.
Yeah,
It was
no,
just like-
I don't think it's Johnny Swole because if it's
Oh,
because Johnny Swole became Johnny Cut, and he went into like bodybuilding for a little bit, and like he cut like all that excess weight and just got like.
Yeah, fuck, I know you're talking about. I am wrong, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
not
know what
Johnny
you're talking
Swole.
about now.
Johnny
Okay,
Lyons
okay.
is not Johnny Swole. Okay,
No,
but either
no.
way, Johnny
I know you're
Lyons
talking about
is on his own. He's actually, honestly, he's incredible on his own.
No, he really is.
Really
And-
have enjoyed watching him wrestle.
Because the first the first time we saw BD Brawley, I wasn't that impressed. This time I thought he was decent.
Yeah.
I thought he got better. And again, it's granted I know nothing about him. I don't know how long he's been in, but you can tell the growth even in just a month or two. So
Yeah, and honestly, it's like seeing him. One, he calls himself the best beard in wrestling. I have a dwarven friend who may argue with that.
yeah,
But
Seems kind of ironclad.
yeah,
Just saying.
I say it with your full belly.
yeah.
But he's going to hit me later, but okay. But
Doesn't
no,
he
it's like
always?
these guys were really good, and honestly, it's like having opponents like Grizzled Brutality brings out a lot, in you being able to take on, honestly. If we're talking the caliber of talent and everything like that, Ryan Davidson, Shiva are above BD Brawley and
Yes.
Johnny Lyons, but it made Brawley and Lyons look really good. And even in loss, I think that honestly it worked out for them.
It did, and it's one of those where I, even said to you during the show, I was like, it's very weird to me to see Davidson and Shiva, who were in the main event last time, open the show.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but also it's one of those where it's like, hey, it got the show going. It was a great match. It also proved that they can kind of do whatever a little bit.
Honestly, given the card, them opening the show wasn't all that bad to me because you always want the first match to get the
Exactly.
crowd hyped.
If you ask anybody who knows professional wrestling, what is the most important match on a card? They're going to say the first match.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be like, well, the main event. No. People come to see the main event.
Yeah.
People pay to see the main event. But people want wrestling when they get there. If that first match is garbage or even just substandard, I don't care how great the main event is. They're going to go home thinking, that wasn't really good shit.
Right.
That's why I hate the constant, it's like, we're going to start the show with a 20-minute promo.
Right.
Why?
Well, and it's one of those where I think the best case in that scenario, like James is talking, is look at WrestleMania 20, Eddie and Kurt for the title. Great match. What happens at WrestleMania 21? Eddie versus Ray. And it's like, no, that man was one of the main events at WrestleMania 20. Why is he on the show? WrestleMania 21, Eddie and Ray was the best match off that card.
Yeah.
And again, it got everything going.
Yeah.
WrestleMania is a different story. They have like 30 different pre-show matches, which is the reality of it. That's the reality of what the show starts with.
Right.
But don't get me wrong. It's always great to start out a big. I'm sorry, I was gonna say pay-per-view. I meant premium event.
Those don't work anymore.
It's great
Unless
to start out
you're
a big
AEW.
premium event with a banger. I mean,
Yes.
always.
Definitely.
In certain situations, though, especially in what I would say a WrestleMania situation, I can see certain wrestlers being a little bit miffed at being that opening match.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah. But going on from that, we actually got a match that us as MPX shills were very happy to see because our own nasty Nick Nash, who will be on the show sometime next month.
Rookie of the Year, 2022, Nick Nash.
One of the contenders for it was taking on the Perfect Storm, Tim Storm, NWA champion, just honestly a legend.
No. First off, let's build this right. It was Nick Nash Open Challenge.
Yeah, I forgot about that part, honestly.
Yeah, it was Nasty Nick calling out anyone, and Tim Storm just happened to be there and didn't have anything to do.
At first, I was sitting there like, why is he doing an open challenge? Nobody knows who this guy is here.
Because he knows how to make mistakes. That's
Well, that and I think
Nick is new. He doesn't know how to do much right.
Well,
so what do you go with? You know what you do wrong.
And let's be honest, is that not the best way to get known?
I mean, yeah, make a bunch of mistakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Make
Honestly.
a bunch of mistakes right off the get. Because guess what? You can get away with it. You're new. Nobody's going to give you crap for making a bunch of mistakes. Now, Granted, most people don't make a mistake as big as like accidentally fighting freaking Tim Storm.
Former NWA champ, 2-time NWA champion, I think. But side note, because PR actually pointed out, it wasn't Johnny Swole, it was Johnny Flex. That's who he was. The Pump
Johnny
Troll.
Flex, thank you. Now that guy.
Yes.
He was small but cut.
Yes.
He was small but cut. And very athletic.
Yeah.
Very athletic. I love Johnny Flex.
Okay.
Big fan of Johnny. Big fan of Pump Patrol, all variations.
Yes.
All variations to Pump Patrol.
Yeah, that one actually works out well. This match between Nick Nash and Tim Storm, honestly, it was kind of obvious from the get-go that Tim Storm was going to... Yeah, it's like that Tim Storm was going to take this one because,
What? Are you what?
Yeah.
But again, how good did Nick Nash look in that, though?
He really did.
Like, it's one of those where he's only not even a year in, and he went against a 2-time former NWA champion, held his own, and looked good. It wasn't necessarily... And that's the thing, like, yes, we all knew Tim was winning, but it wasn't a squash. Like, Nick actually gave something. At times where you're like, oh, shit, are they actually going to have Nick win and push him to the moon? What the fuck?
Yeah, no, that is...
And that, my friends, is a Wrestling 101 study right there, which I'm sure Nick and Tim Storm did perfectly. It's the old saying is, one person goes over.
Yep.
The other person gets over.
Yes.
And honestly, I think it really did a good job of that. I love... It's like... This version of Nick Nash, I'd like to see more of.
Well, and that's the thing, I hope, because we know we're going to see him in MPX, obviously.
Yeah.
I hope Red River
I mean,
saw...
we got to see him the next night. So.
Well, and that's the thing, I hope Red River saw enough to be like, hey, we want you back because that was good.
I misspoke, by the way. It's one person goes over, two people get over.
Yeah.
That's all right. My bad.
Works.
I misspoke.
That works.
I was going to say, either one kind of works because everyone knows Tim Storm's going to be fucking over no matter what.
Yeah. It's like, honestly, it's one of those things that is like... This match going the way it did was perfectly fine because it was 100% expected, but predictable is not always bad.
Right.
But at the same time, it would have hurt Tim Storm none.
Right.
Not a bit. If for some reason Nick Nash had, pulled some kind of underhanded swindling move, like feet on the ropes, holding the tights, et cetera,
right.
and gone over to be, nasty Nick Nash and everything like that, that would have increased Nick's, value. I
do miss the squirt gun a little bit, though.
Yeah.
Thought that was great when Nash came out with the squirt gun.
I know, seriously.
That was great.
It's like, where was that on Saturday?
We're in summer in Texas. It's hot. Everyone wants a little squirt gun.
Oh, geez, yeah. No, it's bad.
You
it's
like
getting
being
worse.
squirt in the face, right?
Is there just? I mean, squirt gun bottle. I'm a big fan of squirt bottles. Me and Joe Angelo Garcia are big fans of squirt bottles.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of things I'd like to have seen more of, but
Squirted in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's like I was gonna say. It's like I don't know. Maybe Nick Nash needs someone to help him on his journey to stardom.
I think he'll be doing okay. He'll be doing okay by himself.
I did love the journey to stardom, though. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we definitely will. Then after that, we had the Oklahoma Championship match. No disqualification. The champion, the final boss, Exodus Prime, taking on the challenger, Edgestone.
Again, it's Oklahoma. Why do people want to fight for the belt so much?
You know what? It's gold.
Tony Snow brought up a great point.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's got legal weed and topless women, so it works.
Yeah, no, it's...
Texas has topless women.
Is it legal, though?
Yes.
For them to just be out in topless?
Oh, and maybe not.
Apparently in Oklahoma, you can legally just walk topless and it's good.
It is actually a law in Texas that anywhere a man can be topless, a woman can be topless.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But have you ever been to Oklahoma?
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I've been to the casinos. That's about it. So.
Yeah, it's like there's a difference between
I don't like going to Oklahoma.
I don't specifically want to say anything wrong because I know a lot of friends of mine are from Oklahoma.
We love you, Dexter.
A lot of friends of mine have girlfriends that are from Oklahoma, wives, daughters. I just generally don't, when I think Oklahoma, I don't think of women I would like to see topless.
It's true.
I just...
Yeah, it's true.
It's like saying...
Isn't Phoebe from Oklahoma?
Okay, I wasn't going to say it, but there's only one I think I would, but anyways. I'm not saying.
Point is...
I mean, to be fair, he already said.
It's like going to a strip club in Arkansas.
It's not the A show, is it?
Oh no.
Yeah,
That's where I'm from.
Okay,
That's where I'm from.
that's Arkansas. That if you cat whistle or wolf whistle one of the girls, some dude's gonna be like, "Hey, leave my sister alone."
Yeah.
I'm from LeBaron, Arkansas, so it's a very. I know what I speak.
But
anyways, Edgestone and Exodus.
The match itself, Exodus Prime has actually some really good experience with no DQ matches.
Well,
I don't know Edgestone's experience with it though.
Right, and I think Edgestone looked really good in a hardcore match.
Yeah.
And to me, I even leaned over you. I was like, oh, this is a preview for what Exodus is going to do at the Purge, which after the match, I'm like, oh no, Exodus has got to do way more.
Yeah.
Not just because of the outcome, but because it wasn't necessarily. It was a hardcore match, but not a hardcore match. And again, that's coming from someone who loves death matches, so there's always a very high bar.
I was gonna say, it's like if they're not bleeding by the end of it, you're not impressed.
It's not even the blood; it's some of the weapon choices. It's just like this isn't really. Yeah, it's hardcore, but it's not hardcore.
Well, anytime.
But to be fair, they label it no DQ, so in that aspect, it makes sense and it works.
Anytime that you put Exodus in a situation where it's no DQ, I would actually say that works against Exodus' skill set. Exodus skill set, and I don't mean that Exodus plays by the rules by any means. I don't mean that whatsoever.
Right.
But it's a lot easier to find a shortcut when shortcuts aren't allowed, if that makes sense.
No, that is very true, and it's one of those where, it's...
When only you get to take the shortcut, it's a lot easier to win the race.
Yes.
Yeah. No, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it does make a lot of sense when you look at Exodus and who he is in his career. Yes, that makes total sense of no DQ matches, hardcore matches, no rule matches, whatever you're going to call it. It does not benefit him at all.
Yeah.
But also, side note, I've already seen 3 people, people love you.
No, they're very, very glad to, see you here on the show. And I'm very glad we finally got you on the show.
I like people.
That's
a lie. That's a lie. Nobody really likes people.
Yeah.
Like the general populace.
Nope.
There's not a human being that likes the general populace.
You
You can like certain people.
It's like that.
Very, very true.
It's like that Men in Black line. A person is fine, but people are dumb, stupid, and panicky.
Yes. Yes.
No, that's why
100%.
it's always weird to me when I get messages, oh, you don't talk to me at the show. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know you and I don't like people. It's weird. If you approach me, I'll talk to you. And then maybe we can build a friendship. But yeah, I don't generally talk or like people, so I stay away.
I don't generally like people, but I do talk.
Yeah.
actually
It's
gonna get
very weird. I love talking, but I hate people.
I was actually going to say later, that's actually when I realized that it's like, oh, I might be further into the business than I thought I was. With the fact that it's like it was after a show, you were talking to me, normally, like person to person, and somebody comes up to talk to you, you turn to them and like, oh yeah, great, thanks for coming. It's like a performer to a fan, and I was just like, am I more into this than I thought I was? Holy shit!
It's to me that's not necessarily how I would. I don't ever actually see fans as a separate part. What I am more awkward if I don't know someone, because usually when a fan comes up to me, they have watched me or they've seen me multiple times, and they're like, "Hey man, I used to watch you back in so and so," or "Hey man, I saw you when you wrestled so and so."
Oh, I'm so totally going to talk about PCW.
They have they have a history with me, but I have no history with them. So I don't
social relationships.
I don't want to do anything to tarnish those memories, so I just have to be the most generically nice person I can be. Like, I don't want to be like, oh man, yeah, that was a great match. I've had some really matches though. Like, I don't want to say that because then they're like, oh, is this guy just like some normal?
So when you're saying your Angel Misery was your best, because you're like, oh, I could tell people to fuck off and it's great.
That's actually so far the opposite of my actual personality that it was so much fun to do. It was so much fun to do, especially when I got to do an Angel of Misery, a different variation, but I can talk about that later. You need to get back to this.
Yes.
Calm down. Red River Wrestling. This is going to be longer than the show.
This is not the first time this has happened. But yeah, in the end, Edgestone actually came away the winner, the new Oklahoma champion, and honestly, it worked out really well. I think, honestly, for one, we're both sitting there saying, well, he's got bigger, goals to go for.
Well, and it wasn't even that. It was the thing where, again, Edgestone's one of those we saw the first time with Red River, which I didn't like, and I was like, hey, he's got potential, maybe. And then he had the next show we went to. We're like, oh, he got better. And this show, he looked good. Like Edgestone's one of those again. He grows, and you're like, this guy, he's got something. He already had a great look. His in ring was a little meh. This was good, and it's not even the hardcore stuff. It was in ring.
Is, you know, it's
well, and that's the other thing. It's always one of those things where it's who you're in the ring with. Exodus is so good; he makes people look good.
And again, I will say that although I would consider Edgestone beating Exodus for a title or beating Exodus in general a upset, I do not consider, because of the type of match, I would actually consider Exodus retaining an upset.
True.
Because of the type of match.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's very true.
Yeah. But moving on from there, we had a tag team championship match that we were actually supposed to get last month. Fly Def was supposed to be taking on the Bionic Weapons, or whatever they're calling themselves.
Yeah.
Franco D'Angelo.
Are they not?
Bailey.
Oh my God.
Are they not Guerrilla Militia?
Guerrilla Militia?
I was gonna say, did not take just Franco's thing?
I don't know. I missed the intro.
It's one of those where it's a very weird pairing, but it works. It's one of those that you hear on paper, like, why are they together? Oh wait, that's actually a dominant tag team.
Have you seen either of them?
Yeah, I know they're huge.
If you stand them next to each other, you can't stand anyone next to them.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Well, I was gonna say you've had a run in with Franco a couple times, right? Over the years.
I've had a run in with Franco dozens of times.
Honestly,
it's never ended well for me.
I've seen videos in history, you know, the history of MPX of you know, different shows and things like that. And I was like, oh, he's a pretty big dude. Seeing him live for the first time, I was like, somebody took a mountain, stuck 4 tree trunks to it, and called it a person.
Yeah.
That guy got into a car accident that should have killed like 8 people, and not only did it should have killed him, and I don't know if anyone's ever told you guys the story of this, but Franco D'Angelo is literally freaking rebuilt.
Yes.
From metal and just piss and vinegar.
Which explains the bionic gorilla thing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So if anyone pisses that guy off, like car crashes, that's good. That's a good outcome.
Death couldn't beat him. What makes you think you can?
Yeah.
And it's one of those where, and I'll be honest, like I was excited for the card except for this match because I've told you before, I felt Fly Def was exposed at Mania weekend with the teams they were against. And it's one of those where I was like, oh, y'all were so good, but what happened when you faced, I hate saying natural tag teams, when you face top talent. And then they came in this, I'm like, oh, no, this is actually decent. It's good. And I guess it's one of those where it depends who you're against. Because, again, it's wrestling is a tango and it's a dance. All 4 members, all 2, whoever's in the ring, they got to work together.
Here's the problem right now, though, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to have things to say about this, is that right now, if you want to talk about wrestling and talking about dancing, that's a great analogy. But the issue is, right now, when you are talking about professional wrestling, you're talking about 2 different, basically 2 different song genres, and everyone's at the same club.
Okay.
So it's sometimes it's not necessarily that a person is not good or a team is not good. Sometimes it's the beat that they're marching to that doesn't make sense to them.
Well,
and that's that to me is a huge difference maker.
Well, it's that, and it's like my friend pointed out, it looked like, and it may be wrong, but it looked like Violence is Forever was in it for themselves. They weren't willing to work with
Fly Def is so used to having a team that will
right.
Work
Fly
with
Def are the tag team kings of Texas. They're used to people working with them, as opposed to a quote unquote known team coming in being like, no, we ain't doing that shit.
Like
you do what we do.
From the machine of war.
I think Palmer told us that story. You're not a fan of Hanson.
Stories we'll get into later. But in the end, Fly Def came away with the win on this one, taking down Bane Bailey. And actually, the interaction between Franco and Bane afterward,
which
really kind of makes me wish Red River was also weekly.
It's a match I want because it's gonna be my type match. It is 2 big men just beating the shit out of each other.
2 big guys slapping meat. Okay.
Yes,
you guys got to get it right if you're gonna do it. It's big meaty men slapping meat.
There you go. That is what it is. I can never say it right. I love
Big
that quote,
meaty
but
men
I can
slapping
never
meat.
say it.
I don't know. I was expecting a lot more of, one of them using my favorite fighting style of beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
So Fly Def got the victory in that one.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Pinning Bane.
I love how our guest is trying to keep us on track.
But after that, we got to see. The first time I had seen Brick Savage was earlier that morning when Patrick sent the video to us, and he was taking on none other than Izzy James.
He'll always be unholy.
What is a Brick Savage?
Really
Brick
big,
Savage
scary
is
dude.
yeah, he's good. I didn't know he was till the card, and then I saw the clip of him. I believe it was an Inspire, where he helped Kiefer win a title, and I was like, "Oh, this guy looks good." And then him and Izzy put on one hell of a match.
Oh my
like
God.
I
If
would
you
love
can
to
hang with
see
Izzy,
Brick
you're
more.
You're in the top two.
And he's
Yeah.
really
hang with
good.
Izzy. You can hang.
Honestly, watching the whole thing, the dude, I kind of want to see him versus Remedy at some point.
That would be great. I would love to see Brick more at Red River, at MPX. I want to see Brick Savage live more. That man, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry.
That man is amazing. And
He's
it's
gonna
one of
see this
those
later.
where yes, as a fan, trying to get on the hillside, being like, oh, Brick's a bitch. No, that man is good.
Oh, yeah. No. But no, then he is like, it was actually kind of an upset to a degree because, one, we know who the booker is, and two, you would almost expect Izzy James to win because he's such a big name in Texas, especially North Texas.
I don't know who the booker is, but anytime someone can get a victory on Izzy James, especially for in non-nefarious ways, is surprising to me.
Yeah.
At this point in Izzy James' career, anytime he loses a match that doesn't have an asterisk by it is surprising to me. Honestly.
Yeah, and honestly, the fact that Brick was able to basically manhandle him and then put him down for the count, jeez. And then after that, he goes and challenges Edgestone.
Yeah.
Which is another match I want to see.
And again, it's Oklahoma's High Hawaii.
Because it's gold.
But I'll tell you what, if Brick Savage is as big as you guys are saying, that is not going to be a similar situation to Exodus. He will not be on the defensive in a no holds barred.
This is definitely going to be one match where Edgestone is going to be the underdog. Jeez.
Well, depending on, of course, if it is not a no holds barred match, and if Brick Savage is actually savage enough, he's got to watch himself.
Yeah. But yeah, Brick Savage coming away with the win on that one. And then we got the main event, which we've talked a lot about. One of the competitors, Mike Bennett, taking on Shane Taylor, the Red River champion. And, this match was so good.
It's one of those where we've seen Shane Taylor just knock the shit out of people. Ryan Davison at the last show. The strikes were just fucking phenomenal. Again, thing I like. What was it? Big medium men slapping meat.
Big medium men slapping meat.
That was great. And then it was him and Bennett with the Boston Strong style. Same thing.
Yes.
And I think that's what I love about Bennett is it is different than anything he's done before. It is a very more aggressive physical style we see from him. Again, I said it last time when we were previewing a show. If you haven't seen it, go watch him and Brian Keith go to a 30-minute draw at New Texas. One of the best matches I've seen live in front of a crowd that, I hate to say it, but be honest, didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
But those two men don't give a fuck. They're going to give 110% every time.
Shane Taylor is in the top 5 unsigned talent
Yes.
in the world, in my personal opinion.
I'm actually amazed that he isn't signed. I'm just like, why has at least not like TNA seen the light?
I don't know Shane Taylor very well, but I honestly assume that he's doing pretty damn good by himself.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody has made him an offer that's worth it.
And it's one of those. I always say it's one of those where I don't know if it's the wrestler or the companies. In Shane Taylor's case, much like Jackson Stone, I feel it's him. It's one of those like, no, I don't want that. I'm doing good what I'm doing. Now, when I feel
having
can
control
do that,
over your own brand is
exactly
something that is an incredibly, especially nowadays in this financial atmosphere, a huge deal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But also being successful with your own brand is almost, look at Danhausen. Danhausen is the number one, to me, the number one example of somebody who has taken their own personal brand, done absolutely everything himself for his own brand, and gotten over because of it.
And he's one of those, you knew him before he was Danhausen. You've
Oh, yeah.
seen the growth. You've seen
God.
what he's become and
I
how
wrestled
successful he's
Donovan
gotten.
Danhausen.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it was like I watched a video or a interview between him and Chris Van Vliet, and just like, wow,
Yeah.
he's very different from his character, but
Well,
it works.
And it's one of those, I think, we're talking about that and talking about the freedom and control. Look at Shane Taylor. He's booked every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh yeah.
That man is busy as fuck.
Very busy.
I mean,
And he does stuff outside of wrestling. Too.
exactly.
I mean, he's like,
And-
that's why he
and
calls it Shane Taylor Promotions.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he helps other people. Again, like Jackson Stone, he has enough of a presence that he can help others.
Yeah.
And get their message.
I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't know who that Khan was until he was with Shane Taylor Promotions. And now Khan is signed to AEW and becoming, at least what it seems like from the way they're building him, going to be a big star.
Yeah.
Either for ROH or AEW, he's getting pushed.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, as long as you're not like fucking with him or something like that, Shane Taylor's so nice.
He is.
He's such a nice guy. You know, very awesome.
Don't kill the character though, but yes.
no, he's all business.
Exactly.
No, he's all business. He really is.
Man,
and like I said,
scares me.
don't fuck with him. And he's a nice guy. Fuck
Yep.
with him, and well, you know, you get.
There's a reason him and Keith Lee were called the Pretty Boy Killers.
Yes.
It's like you get a package pile drived in the middle of the ring and destroyed.
You also get that fucking knockout punch. Goddamn.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, Taylor retaining, still having, I think, 2 belts now.
Yep.
Going into that match with Brian
I
Keith.
swear he had 3 at the last Red River.
He did. I don't know if he lost IEW or he just didn't bring it. But it's one of those where it's going into that match with Brian Keith at the Texas Indie Showcase for New Texas. Winner takes all. It's one of those where I honestly don't know what happened because you got 2 men who are at the top of their game in Texas. And it's weird because Shane Taylor isn't technically Texas, but he is.
Yeah.
And you got Brian Keith who has blown up and become, I don't want to say become because he is one of the best.
And we found out last week that, oh my God, like Brian Keith has been doing this longer than some people, some vets.
In the last 3 years, Brian Keith has made a name for himself just by hard work, getting his name out there, and making sure that he always is consistently talked about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he doesn't do it by posting online or any weird stuff. He does it with his ring work.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and he shows people why he should be number one.
Yep.
And then, goes and does it.
I
And
mean-
honestly, that's a lesson that a lot of people could take.
Well, that and I think you look at wrestling, that's the case for a lot. If you want to look big fed or whatever, how long was Edge working as hard as he could to get to be the guy? I mean, he was already, a 10-year vet before he got a title. It's wrestling it's a shitload of work and it's a shitload of years before you finally get your recognition. Very rarely do you come in a year or 2 in and get known unless you're a fucking Bella twin that looks hot. Like it takes a shitload of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot different now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot easier now that you can actually, you can spread your own image around and don't have to
Social media, YouTube, things like that have been amazing for professional wrestling
Yes.
and indie wrestling. But
Well, again,
double-edged sword.
It is because you got some that get booked off a GIF, and maybe they shouldn't. And I hate to say it, like Alex Zane, I don't know if he should be as big and as popular as he is just because of his gifts. Like I think he still needs a shitload of work of learning
She thinks
character
it's
work,
GIFs.
and then also really
She thinks it's GIFs.
no.
My fiance thinks it's GIFs.
I
Told her graphics, interchangeable. No, it's not graphics. If it was graphics, it'd have a long neck and it would have. But that's not how that works.
Of who?
Sorry, babe.
Oh yeah, Ninja Mac was the same thing until I saw him live. It was Ninja Mac. I saw gifts. I'm like, it's not that great. And then I saw him live. I go, oh no, this motherfucker's good.
I've never seen a full Ninja Mac match, and I 100% just off of like what I've seen in gifts and things like, hey, it's a backyard or found a mask, but like apparently not.
No.
Again, I'm 100% ignorant on that.
I saw him.
so
I saw him
don't
live at Hot against Tommy Becker, and the guy's fucking good. Like he can actually work. I'm like, oh, you can work a crowd. You can work a match. Your flips aren't just for fucking flip's sake. They actually have a point. Oh shit, you know what you're doing. So yeah, no,
I
I
said the same thing about ASF.
I became a bit Ninja Mac fan. ASF was one of those I knew before because I saw him at Lucha Bertel.
Oh man, ASF was so good. So
ASF is amazing.
Yeah, then I saw that
that
one
kid
where
is
apparently
great.
he's like dancing between 3 guys doing the Hurricane Rana. And I'm just like, anybody who sees this and doesn't know who he already is going to be like, oh, it's just more of that super indie flippy shit.
No,
No, that's him having fun, but he's really good.
I was gonna say if MPX is fucking listening, Gringo Loco versus ASF, that's gonna be the best match in MPX history.
Yes.
Those two have amazing chemistry together.
Yeah, definitely.
Those guys are insanely talented.
Yes.
But speaking of MPX, we had MPX's Condemned for 2022 on Saturday, and we started out with a bang.
Yeah.
As Tatum Manning and Exodus Prime were supposed to be signing their contract for
Supposed
basically
to, they did.
holding no fault to MPX management for what they're going to do to each other at the Purge.
Well, it's the Purge. No one's at fault.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, no one's safe except for me and Tyler. We're the only ones that are level 10.
I thought Cody was level 10.
That was old management. I don't know
Cody
about
was
new management.
always-
We'll see about new management. It's like I don't know. They may decide that you're level 9 and not a crowd.
No,
audience
I'm
member.
always gonna be level 10.
I never got a level.
We'll see what Ernie says on Saturday.
At least we're not 0.
Go.
But we, with that, they were signing it. They were, of course, getting in each other's face, talking shit about each other, and then they signed the contract, and they are attacked. First Tatum, then Exodus, by Sons of Mayhem, who are going on a tear. They said they were going to go after every champion, past and future, and they didn't just mean MPX champion. If you've held a belt, you're in their sights.
They talk that on our show. It doesn't matter what title you held. Tag,
AMG,
addicts,
redheaded stepchild,
prospect.
right?
No, it's Tatum XL and the redheaded stepchild.
Redheaded
No, remember Matt Locke called him Shrek. It's Shrek, right?
Yeah, Shrek, Tatum XL. Tatum called him Tatum XL.
Yeah. Well, sure. Probably. But it was one of those where I love the idea of Sons of Mayhem. Granted, I'm not a fan of the Judge name, but it's working.
It is. It's like once they dropped the fun part that they were trying to do, the okay, we're going to be DX and pull pranks and play games and everything like that. They went instead to
They're the Hill DX where they just beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's one of those, again, I've said it on the show before. I'm a sucker for strange bedfellows, so having Tatum and X's team together, fucking great.
awesome.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler, the main event later.
Can I just stop for a second?
Yeah.
When did anyone think that it was a good idea to like strange bedfellows? Like, how is that a positive term?
Honestly, I think I always enjoyed it. Like,
If you would ever consider
Sean and Austin was a good one. But obviously, I think the best one's MVP and Matt Hardy.
Those are unlikely teams or mismatched duos. I mean the actual term "strange bedfellows."
Wasn't
whole
that Regal that
my-
first started that?
I don't know, but my whole question is, if you can describe somebody as a strange bedfellow, don't say that. Don't talk about it. That's
Okay.
not.
Unlikely team. We'll go with that.
You haven't had a strange bedfellow before?
Not that I'm gonna talk about. Have you not seen the Simply Irresistible promo?
Those were my favorites.
But it's like leading to that main event of Exodus Prime, Tatum Manning teaming up against the Sons of Mayhem. And honestly, I'm just looking at that like that's going to be a really good match especially for Sons of Mayhem.
It is, and it's one of those where
It's a great experience for him.
it is. It's going to be. It's great. It was a great experience for him. It's a great experience, especially for Jacob or Jake, whatever the fuck the judge's name is. But it was also very good. Again, Tam and Exodus are chemistry-wise so good in ring and on mic. You have two of the best talkers in MPX doing that contract signing. It could have been a very boring, like you were talking about. You hate to show the start of 20-minute promos or whatever, but this one works because these two are so good.
I won't lie. As much as I'm excited to see the match between Exodus and Tatum at the Purge, I was starting to just kind of like get distracted. I was starting to play games on my phone because I'm like, they're talking. It's great.
Well,
But their talking is so good.
And then the Sons of Mayhem started, and I have ADHD, man. It's hard for me to keep.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about anytime Tatum and Exodus are in the ring together, though. It's interesting as hell, not just because of what they're saying, but it's more interesting what they're not saying.
Yeah.
If you really take a page out of both of their books and just focus on what they're saying, the most important thing is what they're avoiding. Both of those men have weaknesses. Both of those men know their own weaknesses very well. Neither of those men ever will tell you they have a weakness. Now you've got two of those men going to talk up their strengths to each other. Think about the mental mind game that has to take place, how when you threaten an opponent with your strengths, the things you leave out, those are your targets.
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful. You can't just go willy-nilly and say, hey, I'm going to go faster than you, I'm going to be stronger than you, because that tells me exactly what your game plan is, and that tells me where the holes are that I'm going to attack.
Yep.
And with those two, especially with how they get with, they had to be very careful not to take it one step too far and expose themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an important aspect.
And it's one of those, I think, and granted, it's my memory, and my memory sucks. X's never beat Tatum singly.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where
Tatum
it's
made
like
a big deal about that during the promo.
yeah, and it's one of those where it's a South Oak Cliff street fight at Purge, which is technically supposed to favor Exodus, but as we talked earlier, does it really favor Exodus?
I mean, have you ever been to where Tatum's from?
Good old South Lake.
Have you ever been to South Lake? You think they don't have street fights in South Lake? They do. They're just a lot nicer. They're just in a nicer neighborhood.
They have better quality mess up there.
Yeah, it's not, and they have insurance, so they can go a little bit harder. They can go a little bit. So, I mean, you want to say, like, okay, I get it. Yeah, I see where you're going. But, like, Tatum doesn't have that limit of, like, if I hurt myself too much.
Yeah, and
He's got good health care.
I was going to say, and we've seen it before. Purple Rain, him and Dave.
Oh, yeah.
He took Philly Dave and won, and that's something that I didn't think we would see out of Tatum.
Go back even further when the douchebag stole my truck. And him and Byron Anthos brawled with each other in a freaking car wash.
Yeah.
So, don't think for a second that they can't, go a little bit above and beyond and a little bit crazy, because that's gonna happen.
It is true. And hey,
Tatum still owes me for that truck.
and everyone in the Purge, if you don't have good health insurance, contact Patrick Clark. He sells it. It's great.
You'll get a special Purge deal.
Exactly. Maybe, possibly, probably. That's the quote, right? Probably.
Shh, he can call it a deal. Just mark it up and then bring it down again.
Free consultation.
There we go. Yeah, free consultation. But yeah, then we actually got to the matches after that, in which we got to see. We opened the show with one that I'm just like, how this would be a main event other places. But here at MPX, it's our opener. It was an incredible opener. We had Sam Stackhouse, Mr. Nasty, going one-on-one, and holy crap. I mean, these are two bigger dudes.
It's big-ass hoe, is it not?
Yeah. And it's like, on the one hand, it's like, well, you got the pimp hand being strong and everything like that. It wasn't just big, meaty men slapping meat. It was also just incredible wrestling, because these two can move.
Sam Stackhouse pulled out a Hurricane Rana.
Not a Hurricane Rana. He pulled out a running Hurricane Rana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
running.
What the fuck?
And then he matched, Nasty's spinning wheel kick.
Yep.
And it's just like, what?
This is one of the matches I was excited for, and it exceeded my expectations of how good it was. Because, again, it's one of those where it's a little weird, face versus face, so what's going to happen? And it still worked. There really was no heel. And, again, I think that proves nowadays in wrestling, it's not like the old days, and James can attest to this. You can have a face versus face or heel versus heel and still have a good match.
Well,
if you're talented.
Yeah, and both these men I thought did.
Yeah.
It was one of those where the fans were really behind Nasty.
I
They
always
were also
thought-
behind Stackhouse.
I always thought for the more exhibition type matches, it was a lot easier to do face versus face because then they can, they'll usually have the attitude of, the spirit of competition,
Yeah.
Hey, it's great to see you. May the best man win. Let's kick each other's asses. We'll apologize to each other in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So, it's like this didn't bother me so much.
And some of those backhands, I kind of hope he apologized for.
Yeah. Oh my God. Ow. But the
Keeping the pimp hand
Just like-
strong.
Yes.
and honestly,
That's a big man. You
But
got to
as
keep it
strong as the
strong.
pimp hand may be, unfortunately, he forgot that this is Sam's house.
No, it's Stackhouse.
Whose house?
Stackhouse.
All right.
Which I was a little disappointed in the Annex just because Kirby's not here. We're not going to do that anymore.
I know, right?
Really?
It's like, sure, we can't annoy Kirby with it anymore. But come on.
It's still this man's house, and it's one of those where I love how his entrance music is specifically for him,
Oh yes.
and so it's
That makes me happy, but at the same time upset because that means I can't find it on Spotify and add it to the playlist.
yeah. But it is one of those where it's as soon as you hear his music, you get excited,
Mm-hmm.
and it's different with Mr. Nasty. It's not the music, it's him, his presence when he enters the curtain. You're like, oh shit, no, it's Nasty, awesome.
And honestly, also the fact that those promos he pulls off before the show,
Oh, yeah.
before the match, it always just is like you watch it, you pay attention, you're like, I am excited to see him.
Yes. And again, like you said, this match did not disappoint. And like I said, it exceeded my expectations of how good it actually was.
Yeah, definitely. Sam Stackhouse coming away with a win on this one, and honestly, it's like I said before, you may say that it's like, well, these guys are main eventers. Why are they in the first match? The opening match has to be the most exciting. It has to get the fans' blood pumping, especially in this heat.
Yes.
So, it's like anything that can get the fans on their feet and still excited,
Which-
even, with the heat that we're dealing with.
And I immediately I leaned over the Pat, and I'm like, how the fuck is Nasty wearing that in wrestling? What the fuck?
Right? Shiva's Pro, that velvet, the purple and leopard print, everything like that. My girlfriend wants it. I'm like, no, he's wearing it still, honey.
It was one of those that was like, that's got to be hot as shit. to
Yes. But then again, we also saw Jake Lindsay wearing that fucking leather jacket later, and it's like, God damn it,
wear. Yeah,
dude.
but he
what
at
the
least
hell?
takes it off when he wrestles.
True.
Nasty didn't take anything off.
That is true. But then the second match, we had Levi Lucas taking on high stakes Chip Mandalay, and it was great to see Chip back for one.
Yes.
And
It was good to
honestly,
see Levi back too. It's one of those where these are two men that are really talented that I want to see more and more. I would love to see them weekly.
I love Chip, man.
really.
Chip is amazing. We've seen it before, and we've praised Chip a lot on the show before. Levi is one of those we've seen every now and then, and he gets better.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see him. And I think them both being in a singles match that can kind of show both how good they are. Because a lot of times we've seen Chip or even Levi, it's been tag matches.
Yeah.
To
No, it
finally
really has
see
been.
them break out in singles, it was a good match.
Yeah.
And it was a little scary because it looked like Chip was a little, I don't want to say concussed, but he did get hit in the head, little blood. And it's one of those where it's like, is he okay? But they carried the rest of the match well.
And honestly, as Chip Mandalay coming away with the win on this one, I like with Chip and with Levi, it's the whole thing of we only get them every once in a while at this point, and it's really actually kind of cool because unlike with the guys we do see weekly, even as much as we'd like to see Levi and Chip weekly, we get to see how much progression they've made
Yes.
in the time between.
We get to
'Cause
see
it's
the
like- it's
growth.
It's like watching somebody grow when you're watching your kids grow compared to watching your nephew grow. You don't spend time with your nephew, so every time they get taller, you're like, holy crap.
Well, yeah,
Whereas your own
it's-
kid, it happens gradually.
It's one of those, we can look at, Tatum. Tatum's growth, we always saw it at MPX. We didn't really notice it. Like, it was just like, oh, yeah, he's gotten better, blah, blah, blah. And then we see him elsewhere, we're like, oh, no, you're good.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and you're like, oh, fuck, no, you're amazing. It's one of those where you constantly see it every week and every day. You don't really realize it.
Yeah.
So, I totally understand what you're saying with that.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll get to see more of them soon. And well, speaking of guys, we haven't gotten to see at MPX in a while. We had the third match. We got to see Nasty Nick Nash once again take on the Iron Belly. This time with the Hammer not involved.
The Hammer not involved and actually on the card. This was not a dark match, so we can talk about it.
I thought it was actually pretty. It's like the dark match series that they had, or the story that they had, and everything like that was really good. I thought that they could have gone further with that, but that's me. I don't get to make those decisions.
I was gonna say, is that friend biasness or actually wrestling thinking?
That's actually
biasness?
wrestling bias.
Okay.
And honestly, I'm more thinking from Nick's side, because it's like I've always said that it's like just about anything they can do with legs, they could do with Iron Belly because of that level of weirdness.
Do not get me started on the weirdness of gimmicks and the difference between legs and any weirdness of gimmicks. I love Iron Belly, good guy, big upside, Mr. Legs, bar none, one of the most creative individuals I have ever met in my entire life. Took a gimmick that shouldn't have got him past the opening match. Ever in the history of wrestling. He should be in the that gimmick. That gimmick should put him on dark match duty for the next 20 years. And he has elevated that gimmick into something that is must see.
Yes.
He has adapted his entire, not just persona, but wrestling ability to that gimmick, and has made, in my personal opinion, made him one of the secrets of Texas wrestling right now.
Yes,
I agree, especially given that, knowing what he wants to do with himself.
And that is and that is all legs.
Yes.
That is not the gimmick. I want to specify that now.
No, and I agree with you. It's the whole thing of, like we've talked about a number of times before, when you have a gimmick, it doesn't matter how silly it is. If you go into it fully believing in it, like giving it verisimilitude and everything like that, the crowd will believe it as well, and you will get yourself over
the
with
greatest example Bruce Pritchard talked about. He's like, if we gave Kurt Hennig and the Red Rooster gimmick, it would have got over. Terry Taylor just hated it and
100%.
refused to do it.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are stupid gimmicks. Okay?
Yes.
There's stupid. Okay, the guy with a rooster. That's a stupid gimmick. I'm sorry. That's a bad example.
It is.
That's a bad example.
Hell, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus Beefcake.
Brutus.
That's a good example.
Yeah, that works.
Nobody could have got the Red Rooster over.
I think
The Rock couldn't have gotten the Red Rooster over.
How come?
then again,
The kind of a haircut, cut it into a rooster mohawk.
Now, if he'd have kept the old Rocky Maivia like dreads,
See?
like if the Rooster had dreads, and then he joined the Nation of Domination,
that could
have worked.
because he was cockstrong.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
Then we'd just be
Okay, I'm
calling
wrong.
him
The
Red
Rock
and-
could have got that over. The Rock could have got that over. I hate that I just talked to you.
But that just goes to show, if you believe in it, if you really push it and you know how to work it,
Yeah.
don't look at it straight on.
But-
You can look at it like,
I want to point out though that at this point I've been in the wrestling business for almost 23 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, 23 years at the end of I'm not retired, but point is I would be the end of this summer would be 23 years, and everything I know, I still wouldn't have been able to push that gimmick as far as legs.
Yeah.
I want everyone to understand how incredible the man behind that gimmick is for being able to take what is essentially this much and making it this.
No,
Okay?
and
I
it
need
is.
everyone to understand that.
And we've talked about it on the show, and we've talked about it with legs. It was like when he first debuted, we both missed it. We were interviewing Richard the day before or the day after. Mm-hmm. He showed us the debut, and we're like, "Oh, okay, cool." And he goes, "It ain't gonna last.
it's not going to last.
And,
Oh, sure.
And look what happened. He's
Dude's been
a former prospect champion.
Made
He's
it all the way to 4 before he lost it.
Yep, he's been.
I never made it to 4.
He's been in main event matches. He's been in title matches.
times.
He's been in high-profile matches, and the guy is good. The gimmick is great. People love it. His in-ring ability. We've talked with Sky. It's one of the best chemistries he's had with someone, and that's someone kind of like James, like you said, someone who's been in business a long time, and to have that praise from someone a vet, so to speak, to be like, no, you're good. JD
I was
was
gonna
one of
say,
those.
JD
We were
Griffin.
worried about Jerome, and he goes, no, the guy's good. He's like, he was up for anything, and we're like, oh, we're worried because we know he's not flexible. He goes, nope, fucking great.
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit. And it's Legs is good, and I think like he said, he's one of the best kept secrets in Texas. That I know he doesn't want it, but I wish he wanted more in wrestling.
I'll be bold, like straight up honest with you, and this is I'll say the same thing. This equates to Danhausen, which I think Legs' wrestling ability is not wonderful, like not great. Like
No.
he's not a Young Bucks or he's not one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an Izzy James. He's not. But you know what? His character work,
Yep.
his determination and his just everything he puts into that.
Yes.
Easily, if he got out there and I love Izzy James to death, he would easily make a bigger name for himself.
Yeah.
100%.
It's one of those.
And here's the thing, because right now in wrestling, if you're a good wrestler, there's 1 billion other wrestlers out there that are good wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's great, and that's great if you have a character. But when you have this type of character, a
Yes.
Danhausen, a Mr. Legs, something like that, you are a 1 in a million.
Exactly.
And that sorry Tatum.
No disrespect to Tatum, but
But getting back to this match,
but
that
it
we were
is.
talking
It's
about,
one of
I
those where if you have a character that's a 10 and your wrestling's a 7, you can still be over the
Oh no,
fucking
yeah.
moon.
If
and that's what I'm talking about
if
with
your
Iron
character's
Belly,
a 10
because I think he honestly, was like he given the chance to truly shine, given something to work with, he could do that.
He would need to step up a couple of different things to get there, but I 100% can see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But in effect, this match was actually really good. It went the opposite way from the last time we saw these two meet in the ring, but honestly, it was still just as good. It was actually, especially since we haven't seen these guys in a while. They haven't actually had a match anywhere in a while. And so, like, not since before Purple Rain, really. And like the two of them going face to face here, you could worry about ring rust, especially with how new both are to a degree. But they actually did really good.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily ring rust because they've been elsewhere. They work a lot. We just haven't seen them. So it's one of those where it's. But again, it's talents. I would love to see more. I think.
I agree.
Like we've talked about before, I think Chip is someone who could be a very good.
Chip just needs seasoning.
Mid-card guy for us.
Chip needs seasoning.
Yeah, exactly. To get there.
Put him in a group or a faction with somebody who has got that feel, who's got that. Chip would have been a great pick to replace some people if Civil Disorder had kept going.
Yes.
Chip would have been a great addition. Maybe a
back in the day of Dot Mob.
Not an obvious addition, but Menage a Trois, he would have fed in real well there.
God, yeah, that would have been great.
Yep.
Again, but I feel like that is where Chip needs to be. He needs to be on a weekly show or working weekly with other people who are either deep in the trenches of learning themselves, or B, somebody who's a little bit ahead of him, so he can glean from that, and he will grow that like boom, boom, boom.
Even
boom,
if
boom.
he got relegated to the line of
Chris Fulmer definitely got some sort of mental like kick in the ass when the name Mr. Legs showed up.
I'm talking about my brother. I must go.
But no, it is. Like James was talking about, look at Tatum. I think Tatum's time in Menage a Trois helped him so much to be with Larry and CJ.
Well, it
definitely
did so much for his confidence.
Exactly. I was
And
gonna
once
say,
he
it
got
helped
his
for his
confidence
confidence and character.
everything else started building up.
Yep.
Confidence was the one thing that he, especially if you saw his first couple matches,
Yes.
he lacked that so bad.
Yes.
He didn't know who he was. He was terrified of who he was gonna be. And then getting in Menage a Trois, he gave him that confidence to branch out and to grow in different ways.
And it did. And look at him now. We've made the joke. It's our White Rock. He is one of the best, most charismatic, confident men we have in MPX.
Yeah, unfortunately, he'll just never be able to get past the frat boy gimmick.
No, always there. But it works for him because, hey, I mean, look at him in Chili Boys. That's a perfect fit.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is very weird because, again, it's not necessarily Tatum the person, but Tatum the character. It's fucking great. Now you had Casey, the real person, in Casey the character. He's a chili boy.
Have you met Tatum?
Yeah. Chili Boys is a natural
Tatum taught me how to. Is it body rock? What the? Like, if Tatum ever pulls this up, like if you're ever on chat, Tatum, I need to know what the hell you taught me because I already forgot it. I already forgot it.
But yeah, so yeah, Nick Nash, Iron Belly. Nick Nash coming away with the win on this one, working Iron Belly's leg. You know, he learned his lesson, to say the least.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he learned his lesson. That's why he was able to actually win.
He didn't work the belly.
No. It was
Smart.
Okay.
Go for the leg, go for the head.
Unfortunately, a few times the belly worked him. So
it's like I told you earlier. Listen to Thanos. Thanos was always right. Go for the head.
But
Half the population needs to die.
I don't know.
It works.
Honestly, it's like when it comes to you have rivalries that you just look at and go, it's like this could work anywhere, anytime. Just throw it there and it's good. I think Nick Nash and Iron Belly is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on from there, we had a 6-man tag team match of basically
6-person.
Yeah,
there you go.
6-person. Boiled down to the boys versus excessive violence, as Brixton Shaw teamed up with Gabe Wilder and Tommy Prince to take on.
We got all the boys.
Dimitri Alexandrov. Yes, I've been wanting that forever, and we got to see it. And we got to see it against a team that I was very happy to see it against. Dimitri Alexandrov, Jason Silver, Sky De Lacrimosa. It all got listed as Brixton Shaw and the boys versus Dimitri and the Lost Boys, but it was the boys in excessive
Just
violence.
realized I'm covered by comments, so I got to cover you up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, excessive violence.
Yeah.
Finally back. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Whether they had the intro or not.
No, and I think that was a little disappointing as they didn't all come out together, which I get because it's supposed to be a surprise, so it made sense. Same with the boys. I wanted all the boys to come out, and they did, and it was separate. But again, I'm just happy we got all these 6 men against each other.
Their name ends in a Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's next level.
But this was actually a really good match. I mean, you had the 2 separate stories of the boys and the Lost Boys and Dimitri and Brixton Shaw, but the fact that the 2 different angles are, connected to each other through the fact that you have, like memberships, I guess you could say, on both sides.
It's the, supernovas colliding or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But
It's the boys versus the boys.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
Which, I mean, and I've always thought that was weird. I was like, most people think of Lost Boys, and I think some people think the Peter Pan Lost Boys, which fits Gabe and Tommy way better.
Yes, but also there are people who do think of the
No, they're Lost Boys, are they not? They would. They would be the type that hang around Peter Pan and shit.
Now I can only see Gabe Wilder with a little hat with a
See?
feather.
Exactly.
Oh my god! And
Think of the cartoon. He's the one in the fucking little raccoon suit.
Tommy Prince has got the little full jammies.
Yes.
Oh shit.
They are. Because sadly, our generation knows the Lost Boys horror movie, but a lot of people think of Peter Pan. So I feel when you say Lost Boys and the Boys, if you just said that and they solved it, you just put a picture of the 2 teams, they're going to say Silver Sky and Dimitri are the boys.
Yeah, no.
And the Lost Boys are Brixton, Tommy, and Gabe.
Instead of
happy thoughts.
Instead of cute 1950s era costumes, we instead got, callbacks to the greatest mullet ever known.
All 6 of those men are going to kill me. Fuck.
Yes, and it's going to be funny. But no, this match was honestly, I get in trouble for saying match of the night or a lot of matches, but this was a fantastic match.
It was amazing.
Everything I was hoping for, even though it wasn't a big show match. It was just honestly the work between the 2 teams, the interactions, the back and forth between the 2 sides as people, as much as anything else, was just really, really good.
I know Gabe. Gabe and Tommy, I'm sorry. I earned and will receive all chops. I am super sorry.
I am sorry, Gabe. This is my fault, guys. I shouldn't have described the feather, the jammies. That's my fault. I blame myself for that.
I know all 6 are killing me, and I'm fine with it because I do regret it.
And here I was thinking more along the lines of Amazon Prime's The Boys, and so we got Billy Butcher and Frenchie or Huey, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm the only person
remember,
in this
Huey's a
whole
Bob-
thing
oh,
that
that's still
doesn't
right.
think
Okay.
anything but the Lost Boys from Peter Pan. I never watched the vampire thing. I never watched the Amazon The Boys. Anytime anyone says boys, that's not the Hardy Boys, which immediately makes me think, where's Nancy Drew? Anytime
these Hardy
any
Boys?
mention, anytime that happens, whenever they come out, I'm all like, where's Nancy? It's just like, yeah. And Nancy Drew's gonna show up and her thong's gonna be showing. And it's just,
Yep,
it's
there's
really
Dimitri,
uncomfortable.
There's Isaac.
Oh,
Hi
God.
guys.
I upset Uncle Isaac. I'm fucked.
Oh, so sorry.
Tommy. Man, for once, I didn't piss them off, and I'm so very glad for that. Because I'm talking
Emma
about how
Watson, too. Or
great
not
this
Emma
match
Watson,
was.
The other one.
Honestly,
The American Horror Story girl.
Who won the match?
In the end, it was actually excessive violence or Dimitri and the Lost Boys, and I was actually
surprised.
I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised.
You were surprised.
I was actually surprised. I thought that it's like the boys finally being able to come fully together like that.
Let me explain something, and this is something that a lot of people probably don't get when it comes to a different wrestling shows. Every single, even if it takes place in the same building, when you are a member of a team one place, but not another place, and that team transports over to that place, it does not equal the same thing. You would think it would, but here's the real truth behind it, okay? Because every time you walk in, let's say you two worked at Whataburger together, okay? You guys were shift buddies at Whataburger together. You always worked together at Whataburger, all right? And then you went to KFC, and then you went somewhere else to another chicken shit place, whatever. And here's
Chris
what happened.
Carter, I work at Popeyes, all right?
Okay, Popeyes, cool, that's fine. So then you're at Popeyes, all right? All right, and let's say then after that, you guys get back and you work at McDonald's. Guess what? You're still the same thing. You have the exact same jobs. You do the exact same thing. It ain't going to work the same. It ain't going to work out. Because you've had different experiences in different places separate from each other, thus making you a different person in those places. Hey, Remedy.
No, it is. It's very true. You look at the boys when they first teamed, Brixton was the guy. I think it's safe to say at MPX, it's Tommy Prince, the Mad Prince, who is the guy.
Right now.
Exactly.
Brixton is a former MPX champion.
No, he very much is.
He dumped me on my head.
Yeah. But it's one of those where it's right now, Tommy is I guess, in this case, especially with these three, he is the golden child.
Yeah,
he is
might
the
be
chosen one.
Of who?
Well, it's Daddy Hill's favorite. So
Yeah.
it is the boy.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people who know Daddy Hill like I do. But point is this. There is that alone. Just think of the boys alone. Just that team. You've got the new favorite, Tommy Prince. Okay, that already speaks against Brixton, who was the top guy and the leader of Civil Disorder. So you're gonna tell me, new golden boy who thinks the whole world's about him is going to get along with a former world champion who remembers he's a former world champion. I'm sorry, MPX champion.
Yes.
Who remembers he ran this fucking company.
Yep.
Okay? And then right in the middle there, you've got Gabe. Let me tell you something. That's divided right there.
It is.
You've got Gabe who spent a year doing his best to get under the good graces of Mr. Brixton.
Yes.
All while beating the shit out of his little boy buddy here, brother. And now he's got to suck up to little brother because he's the golden child. But at the same time, he's got to still prove himself to Brixton. You're going to tell me that you think that you are surprised that those three couldn't get their shit together enough to take on the Lost Boys, who are insane apart together with each other. They would just as soon bloody each other as they would their opponents and still be just as happy.
No, we've seen excessive violence kill each other and then be fine after.
And Dimitri, who has had so many partners in MPX, that he has already always got his head on a swivel.
Yep.
You're telling me that Dimitri and the Lost Boys defeating team whatever that is, Brixton's boys with a Z.
Okay, look, I'm just trying not to get my ass kicked.
Okay.
Oh no,
I'm just saying.
we're already getting our ass kicked.
See, I don't have to worry about it because I'm retired. Now if they assault me, it's chargeable. Why do you think I don't show up at the show anymore?
Oh, this show's gonna be way fun
If
later
you ain't
when we get to talk about it.
if you ain't contracted and they hit you, you can sue.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But again, we've seen this from Gabe before. He is the sticky white substance that keeps everything together, right?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Every time I've seen Gabe, like, you want to talk about, let me tell you something. You want to talk about tag teams and people, you want to talk about Marty Jannetty's and Shawn Michaels. Everybody always says, every tag team's got a Shawn, every tag team's got a Marty. Gabe is the Marty. But let me explain why Gabe is the Marty. Gabe is the Marty because that fucker's going to be around in 10 years, still doing the business and still doing his damn thing. If Tommy's not careful, Big Daddy Hill's going to take him down a road he doesn't want to go. And there ain't no coming back from that. Gabe, on the other hand, all he's got to do is put his foot on the brake for a little bit, take that nice left turn,
Yep.
keep on going down the road he needs to.
Yep.
Say what you will about Marty Jannetty, but Marty Jannetty is pound for pound better than Shawn Michaels in almost every aspect except for personal demons. And if there were no personal demons, Marty Jannetty would have been on par with Shawn Michaels.
Until he posts on Twitter, and then, yeah.
Personal demons.
Exactly. Wants to date his own daughter. Yeah, it's weird. But hey, the man was still
Yeah,
a good
but you can be, but I mean, the sky's the limit if you want to date your own daughter. You can be president.
Goddamn. I love you.
Okay.
I ain't wrong.
I think this is one of my favorite guests so far.
Yeah, no, it's
I ain't wrong.
No, you're not.
This is up there with Kirby and Palmer, in my opinion. So, yeah.
I'm sure that tag match was incredible.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
I'm sure that six-man match
That
was incredible.
six-man was great.
Don't get me wrong. Both of those teams are just nothing but talent, okay? But if you but I just had a problem with you thinking that it was surprising
Exactly.
that the excessive violence beat the boys. I'm sorry.
I
I
have
just
my reasons. I have my reasons.
and that's fine. It's just I have the reasons as well because I watched all three of them go through really uncomfortable phases in their careers and then just now they're together?
Well, and it's like I said, I thought it was very weird. What was it, the week before? We had the Empress of Violence come out to kind of combat Hilda, and then she's not there at all, but we still have Hilda. Like, what the hell? I was hoping that would stay.
Let me explain something about the Empress of Violence. Let me explain one thing about her. If you see her once, you learn your lesson.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Why did she come out last week? The show she showed up, why was she coming out? Was because Hilda was sticking her nose in where she didn't belong? Did Hilda stick her nose where it didn't belong this show?
No, she didn't.
Okay, then.
Touche.
I can't say.
Still a great picture of, Madeline holding the pigtails of Hilda against the ropes. That's a great picture. Yes, it is. It was. Brian is a good photographer, okay?
I literally can't say anything.
I'm going to say this right now. Kyle is not allowed to comment on the next match.
Speaking of the next match, Phoebe, Machiko. Honestly, this match was...
I was just
shut the...
Nothing. That's what I was about to say. I was like, I was outside smoking. I didn't watch it.
Honestly, Phoebe has...
I was with Carl and Livy, so I was smoking.
At MPX, Phoebe has been on a tear, and honestly, I thought that it might stop with her, running into Baby D that one time, and well, it didn't. She continued on the said tear as she took on the.
Dimitri, I'm sorry, I love you. Dimitri just said I'm his favorite anime. It's my favorite thing I've ever seen anyone say. Dimitri just said James Johnson is my favorite anime, and it's my favorite compliment I've ever seen.
It works. But, yeah, it's like, honestly...
I run like this.
This is the second time we've seen Machiko back since she, had ostensibly retired.
I wouldn't even say a retirement.
It's a pandemic retirement.
It's a pandemic.
Those don't count.
That's different.
And also, she was supposed to be going and working on some other show, and that fell through, not because of her, but because, of other factors.
It won't.
Machiko is a very Why the hell do I have a sticker on my shorts?
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry. Those are out front.
Yeah, but my shorts. I wasn't on the ground.
Did you fall?
I didn't walk on my knees to get to your door. That's uncomfortably strange.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry.
that's fine. No. I don't think it's you. I don't know how that happened, but okay, sorry. Let's get back to what you're saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, the like I said, Phoebe had been on a tear, taking on Machiko. Honestly, I thought, one of the OG queens of MPX might, put Phoebe in her place, I guess you could say. But it turns out, no, Phoebe is staying strong with this one.
Phoebe's been doing some good scouting. I know for a fact, just from talking with people, that Phoebe was aware of the Texas Cloverleaf.
Yep.
She wanted to stay away from that. That was part of the game plan. Machiko may have some more ring rust than Phoebe does. But, with Machiko, the thing about Machiko, and I say this with love, is that she is wildly unpredictable with how she's going to come into a match.
Yeah.
You know where her focus is going to end up. You don't know how she's going to get there. And Phoebe, I know, again, from talking with people, that Phoebe was one of her game plans was to stay away from the Texas Cloverleaf.
Yeah, definitely. And it worked out for her. I mean, Mach tried to get that in there, but it didn't work out for her. And Phoebe was able to come away with the win.
Not surprising. Again, like you said, Phoebe's been on a tear, and she has so much experience. People have often overlooked Phoebe's battle savvy, I will put it. I'll put it that phrase, battle savvy, just because of the fun side of Fun and Sexy she was. But if when you look at how much focus and how much dexterity it takes to just use a hula hoop the way she does, you think her mind doesn't work the same way? Yeah, her mind's running at all times too. It's not just the hula hoop. Her mind's running at all times. She's got things figured out.
And it worked out for her. Definitely maybe we'll see Phoebe go on to, further dominate. Maybe she'll get that Prospect Championship back and, take it further than she was able to beforehand now that she's done playing nice.
She's not the first woman to hold the Prospect title, but she may be the first woman to successfully cash it in.
Yeah. Wait, didn't Baby D?
Yes.
Did she cash it in?
Yeah.
That's how she got the title against Brown.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. I
So
apologize.
honestly,
My bad.
she may be on track to show up Baby D.
If anyone's got a game plan for it, it's going to be her former partner Phoebe. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and
I know that Plan C, get well soon. I would definitely love to see Machiko back more.
well, and it's one of those I would love to see again. I felt we were building to it, and I hope we're still building to it. But Baby D versus Phoebe.
Maybe,
that is the match
maybe that's if she can.
I want to see.
That's if she can convince Jamie to come to the shows again.
I think that is one of the final true tests to show that Phoebe can be the Phoebe that we're all thinking. I think getting past Baby D, who is an MPX legend and a Texas women's wrestling legend, getting past that little hill, getting that chip off her shoulder of everyone comparing her to, oh, you're just fun and sexy. No, beating Baby D and being on her own, that would do so much for Phoebe.
And that's really, as you're saying, for Phoebe, the hard part's not beating Baby D. The hard part is not the act of beating Baby D. Baby D is retired. She will have ring rust. Phoebe is still ongoing. Like you said, she's been on a tear. But the part that Phoebe's going to have to worry about beating is herself.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot to live up to. Especially in MPX. The only female MPX champion in history. And that's also your tag team partner?
Yeah.
Former tag
Athena
team partner?
held it for like a day.
Who?
Athena?
I don't think so.
I think we were told
hear
that in the
back and
very
forth.
old building. I don't know.
I don't believe so, but I don't know.
Didn't Livy hold it for like 30 minutes?
Livy was not officially the champion. That was an unsanctioned match, as you clearly know.
Oh, that's right. You were there.
I was definitely there. Yep. It's an unsanctioned match. Does not count.
But after that, we had the match that I had thought previously was going to be the main event here, but of course the tag match with the MPX champ in it took over that.
That's the way it should be. Your MPX champ should always
the
be. The
lumberjack match between Aaron Eagle and the true hero
Oh,
of
Aaron
MPX, Casey Clay. Yeah, that seems to be the general, reaction whenever I talk about Aaron Eagle. Doesn't matter if it's MPX or Red River or wherever. It's just, that's the reaction.
Yeah.
I broke his wrist and got shit for it for years, but now if I did it, everyone would be like, oh, thanks, champ.
See, you knew beforehand.
Yes, I did.
But the match itself, I was actually looking forward to this because I have now gotten to see Aaron Eagle a few times, and in the ring, he's got some good chops. He's got some talent, and of course, Casey Clay, one of the the prodigies of Metroplex Wrestling, former
Our true
MPX
hero.
champion, the quickest MPX champion from rookie to champ in the history of MPX.
It is, and it's one of those though. Looking at this match, my
Funny
only
you should mention that. Aaron Eagle was the quickest rookie to champ PCW champion.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow, he goes back that far?
Yes.
Yes, he
I
does.
did not know that.
Yes, he does.
I have had many run-ins with Aaron Eagle.
I'll bet, yeah.
But no, the only thing that bothered me about this match, and it's very minor, it's because my overthinking wrestling brain. Why were there more face lumberjacks than heel lumberjacks?
Okay, that's different from my.
That
I will tell
that was
you.
the only thing that bothered me.
You want my answer? You want
Yes.
the actual? Let me tell you the 100% actual answer. This is secret, guys. This is business secrets. I'm going to tell you right here. It's because what you want to call heels are selfish pricks. And guess what? They don't get paid extra to do lumberjacks. So guess what? Unless they really just want to beat the shit out of someone, they're not going to show up. Now, Aaron Eagle, on the other hand, has a face you just want to punch and an ass.
I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of people want to punch Casey in the face.
I mean, yeah, like when you meet him, like,
Or
or
go to the
if
bar
you
with
get
him.
to know him,
Yeah.
or like if you've seen him. But here's the thing. Yes, Casey is punchable, but here's the fact. Casey will give you the opportunity. Eagle, he's got his own private dressing room everywhere he goes. He's got a private driver that brings him to shows. So let me tell you why the baby faces were lined up out there. It's to get a shot at punching Aaron Eagle in his smug, beautiful face.
That makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah. All right.
And
And
honestly,
no,
it's like-
the heels don't get paid to beat somebody up. So guess what? If they don't feel like beating up
What did I
Casey
do?
Clay,
what?
What
they
did
don't,
I
they
say?
don't feel like beating up Casey Clay,
Oh,
then they're not gonna come out.
forgot.
Okay.
That's your best friend. I'm sorry.
I don't do those matches. I don't do those types of matches. I never did. You know why? I didn't get paid for it.
Yeah. But
Unless I want to
it's like actually, the thing that got me was the fact that it's like I found it very odd that both sides just politely stayed to their side of the ring the whole time. It's like
Yeah, for a little bit.
that's
That's most lumberjack matches. They stay to the side until towards the end, then they break out and go to the middle.
well, I would have expected that it's like more of them would have done, especially with Stackhouse saying it's like I'm there. You don't need the rest of the lumberjacks. I'm ready to end Aaron Eagle because he got to meet Aaron Eagle personally too.
Yep.
And of course he had the same opinion just about everybody does.
So talented, that Aaron Eagle.
Yeah.
Just want to take that talent, shove it up his ass.
But in the
But not
end,
with like my own hand
in
though.
the end,
Like
in
with
the
someone
end,
else's
it's
hand.
the talent of Casey Clay
His
that came out on top.
would love it.
Winning the match, and honestly, it outside it devolved into absolute chaos.
Sorry.
I'm trying to run a story on this, man. It's like-
He's trying to run a train on Eagle. Point is,
You're no longer my favorite guest.
what you were trying to say is that this match definitely exceeded the expectations that you expected from it, but also, remarkably, you would assume that Aaron Eagle stayed inside the ring a lot more than you expected.
Yeah, that is true.
That's because he's not stupid,
Yeah.
and he knew he was going to get his ass kicked. Because Aaron Eagle is a smart piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
But
that's
there
not-
was chaos on the outside as well as we saw the back and forth between Dimitri and Brixton, and
Yeah.
honestly, it was absolute chaos. I can't actually remember what all happened in the end.
I've spoken with Dimitri about this, and Dimitri, you were on chat earlier. I guarantee you that some of the problem between Dimitri and Brixton has to do with the Lost Boys having an S and the boys having a Z. Guarantee. It's S versus Z. I know they have a lot of history, but it all boiled down to the difference of letters. It's weird how that happens in professional wrestling.
Okie dokie then. But then we have the main event, the Sons of Mayhem taking on Exodus Prime and Tatum Manning. And honestly, this one, you want to talk mismatched teams, Exodus Prime, Tatum Manning, that was severely mismatched.
Which, again, like you said, main event. it's Jacob, one of our rookie of the years. Is this not the quickest rookie, the main event we've had? I granted it's a tag match.
Tommy Becker.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that might, yeah.
The Tommy Becker.
Yep. That very well may be right.
Yeah.
Maybe not the quickest to champion, but definitely the quickest to main event.
Yep.
Could see that.
But the fight between these two teams, honestly, for a little bit, it looked like that Exodus and Tatum may be on the same page, but definitely we're not after a little bit. Especially
they weren't. Tatum left his partner
especially
hanging.
once Tatum decided he was going to just stand back and avoid the tag.
Which is smart. Your opponent next week, you're going to let him get weakened.
Yeah, but it's like the way Ernie put it was actually really good. You're either going to get together and you're going to become an incredible team, or you're going to be easy pickings for the Sons of Mayhem. And unfortunately, they let themselves become the easy pickings for the Sons of Mayhem.
Let me tell you what happened. You can say Tatum's a chicken. You can say he was playing it smart and wanted his opponent to be softened up. But here's the real deal. And this is every time you put somebody who is about to face somebody else in together with the team, there are two options. You are either going to A, try to show up that person and do the best you absolutely can, or B, you are going to try to do the least you can and show no weaknesses. Because if every time that person gets a good view of you, I'm talking, there's no better view than in the corner watching your partner wrestle. If you think for a second that Exodus wouldn't have picked every part about Tatum that he could have focused on, while Tatum, you're crazy. Exodus, that's what Exodus' whole plan was. That's what Tatum's plan was. Tatum did it first. So, is it smart? Is it chicken? It's a little bit of both, but it's good strategy.
Yeah.
Honestly, it looked like you were talking about them trying to show each other up. It looked like Exodus was trying to show up Tatum through the whole thing as well, because he was definitely ready to.
And here's the problem: Tatum didn't give a shit.
Nope.
That's true.
Because all he was doing was gaining intel. Exodus has never beaten Tatum one-on-one.
True.
And I will go on it right now, and I will say I will be surprised if he does it at the Purge. Mainly because of that attitude. You want to show everything you got just to show how much better you are? Well, guess what? Tatum's got a whole book that you haven't read.
But at the same time, Exodus, gave as good as he got when it came to that, because he left Tatum in the lurch and allowed the Sons of Mayhem to destroy Tatum Manning.
What did he do when he left?
He just walked out.
He walked out. Tatum stayed on the apron.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
That's the difference. That's going to be the mistake that's going to come back and haunt you, Exodus. If you see this, which you probably won't, but if you see this, remember, next time you're going to screw someone over, stay on the corner so you can watch it happen. Watch what they do, because watching back on replay ain't going to be it. You ain't going to see the limp. You ain't going to see the moment where he shifts from the right to the left just because that right got tweaked a little bit. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the weaknesses. And if you'd have stayed on that apron like Tatum did to you, maybe you'd have seen something that he did that you didn't.
Yeah. But, of course, that is what closed out the show Condemned. We have the matches for the Purge that have been announced. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 matches announced. That may be all of them. We've seen that happen. And let's see. I think everybody's off of work. Go for it.
Purge! It's amazing. Love it.
MPX
It's one
is
of my
the
favorite
Purge.
shows.
It's our extreme show here at MPX. And, honestly, the match lineup that we've got is pretty incredible. Because
It's excessive violent and ultra violent. I love it.
we've got the just announced recently Fans Bring the Weapons match between the leading man Michael Schaefer and the man called Remedy.
A match I've wanted to see forever since their little spat in the Rumble. And then just knowing how good both these big men are. Schaefer's one of the most athletic big men you'll ever see. And so is Remedy in his own way, but Remedy is also, pun intended, fun.
Yeah.
And he brings excitement whenever he comes out. So to see these two men battle, this is going to be amazing. And then also fans bring up, like, what the hell are fans going to bring? Because, again, I love the MPX addicts, but it's gone different ways. We've seen some fans bring the West match where there's nothing. And then we see some where they're like, what the fuck? Are you trying to murder someone?
You're right.
It's going to be great.
Right. And honestly,
we're in Texas,
so,
open
so
carry.
what are you gonna?
Don't tell Remedy that. He's tried that in a match before. Don't tell him that.
I
A
was
couple
gonna
years
say-
back, they told me I could carry a samurai sword around now.
Yeah, that was after the Leva incident.
I've actually tried to cut Aaron Eagle's arm off, and it did not work.
Oh wow.
That's an actual thing that I did.
Wow.
That doesn't surprise me.
But this actually brings up the question, Kyle. What are you gonna bring?
I haven't decided yet. I'm pretty sure some gussets, but I'm not. I don't know yet. It'd be something.
Yeah.
How about his personality?
I always bring that.
That'll do damage.
That's always live at MPX on Saturdays.
Yep.
Not Monday through Friday, only on Saturdays.
Unfortunate.
Then we also have the Backstreet Brawl tag team match between the Sons of Mayhem and the BFFs. Red and Jacob taking on Mikey B and the All-Star Matlock.
Which, little disappointed in,
Oh?
just because they're still supposed to hate each other. Then you got Locke saying, hey, do you have a T-shirt? No, you're still supposed to hate each other. Still be a team, but hate each other.
You know, it's that whole thing of, just
You know what
Enemy
Matlock
of my
hates more
enemy.
than teaming with someone he doesn't like?
Tommy Dean?
Losing. Losing.
Oh, no, he hates Tommy Dean.
I mean, I'm sure he hates Tommy Dean, but he hates losing more.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, Remedy does have a knife. I've seen him use it in a match before.
Yeah.
Thank God the person ducked.
But this is actually going
Dimitri
to be...
was in that match.
Don't, Remedy. Don't.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to
just
be
told the man to
interesting to
bring
see...
a
Remedy?
gun.
Remedy?
Jake is already used to being the big man in the ring and being able to physically dominate, any and all of his opponents. I mean, look what he did to Barrett freaking Brown.
That is true, but let's be honest. Locke's going to chop that big tree down.
I was going to say, but he's going to have to go face-to-face with the All-Star Matt Locke. And,
I'm not saying that Locke is better than Barrett, obviously, but Locke knows how to target and go after his opponent. Barrett's that, I don't care how fucking big you are, I'm just going to go at you.
yeah, I was going to say...
Locke is a little smarter, be like, oh, you're tall, you're going to power me, fuck you, I'm going to take your leg
Locke's
out.
a bit more vicious than Barrett is.
I don't agree with Locke being more vicious than Barrett. I believe that Barrett prizes athleticism and he glories in combat.
Yeah.
Matlock glories in victory.
Yep.
Barrett would like to win a match the most impressive, hardcore, not hardcore as in like using weapons, but like just battle with honor that he can. He likes to win matches that way. Matlock likes to win matches any way that gets him to the pay window.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly,
We've heard Locke before, he's not paid by the hour. He doesn't
of course,
give a
we're
shit.
also still going to have this is a long-running rivalry. Ever since Red just kind of, turned heel, he and Mikey have been at each other.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Red and his facial hair.
Yeah.
No, there are some victories he just can't pull off.
Yeah. Same here, Red. Can't do it.
Poor Weasley. What?
But now that we're done lambasting his facial hair, honestly, it's like they come from the same rookie class. Like Mikey was actually for a while very close to actually possibly even beating Red Chambers in the vote. But of course, like Red said, he was able to game the system. So
Again,
B stands for better.
there's a lot of fucking Weasleys around, but that's the thing. They know Mikey B. They know what he can do. And they've seen Locke. They know what Locke can do. Again, they're on this tear of trying to prove they're the best. They're the future. They're going after every future champion. Yeah, Mikey B's the only future champion. Do they really have a beef with Locke?
not really, but you know what? Locke's got a beef with them.
Sons of Mayhem. Let me give you one bit of advice. Don't worry about everyone thinking you're the future or everyone thinking you're the best. Just worry about beating the shit out of them, and then they can't say anything because they have broken jaws. So don't worry about it. Just you focus too much on that. What's going to happen? You're going to get yourself into trouble because you're trying to prove something that you can prove by not proving it. Just do it.
And I mean, and this is the second Backstreet Brawl we've seen, so I really hope the records come back
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that was a very cool spot.
I honestly, it's like that has become Mikey B's signature when it comes to hardcore matches, and it's like as long as they don't pull out a backstreet brawl too often, I think it works. It works all the time. But then going from there, we also have the stretcher match: Brixton Shaw, Dimitri Alexandrov. We talked about the rivalry between them to begin with,
Which I don't know because, granted, I went there for a lot of MPX history. I don't think we've had a stretcher match before.
Nope. Like I said on Mainline, I think it's with the casket being gone.
Yeah.
Thank God the casket is gone.
I was going to say you have some knowledge of that thing.
Thank God that thing is gone.
But it's like I guess a stretcher would be the next best.
It is, and I love, and again, for addicts who don't know what a stretcher match is, you literally have to incapacitate your opponent and push him past either the curtain or the line, whatever we draw up, because it's different other places. You have to put them on a stretcher and literally take them out. So, and you've got two men who, my God, are willing to kill each other to prove that they're the best.
Yeah.
And you got two former MPX champions that want that belt back. And let's be honest, in a way to get to that contendership is to go through each other.
Yep, definitely. And
they're fighting to be the next number one contender, or I'm sorry, they're fighting for a contendership or contendership.
Yep.
Depending, it's Z or S. It's just
You're really hung up on the C and S.
It's the Z or the S. That's what Dimitri will tell you 100%. I'm sure Brixton's going to say, "Oh, it's all about the glory." Dimitri will tell you, "No, it's about the letters. It's about the damn letters."
Okie dokie. But yeah, this match is going to be it's going to be deadly. I mean, we've seen the level of violence that Brixton can get to, especially with that taped fist match he had with Nash. And we, of course, know Dimitri Alexandrov, member of Excessive Violence. I think these two men are just going to destroy each other. Wouldn't be surprised if they both leave on stretchers in one fashion or another.
Probably. I'm throwing it out there because I know Dimitri's crazy enough. I want an Emerald Explosion off the second rope to the stretcher. I think that would just be great.
Dimitri, don't listen to him because if you break the stretcher, you can't win the match.
He can still push it. It's very hard to push, but he can push it. That is true. He can pull it.
But then we also have the match that is going to define the Purge. Honestly, I'm going to get to the title matches later, but this one is going to define this year's Purge. The Ultra Violence match, the Excessive Violence match between Excessive Violence own guy.
Did we get to talk about Uncle Isaac and the boys?
We're going to. That's a championship match.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to those next.
Oh, okay. I just figured this is the main event, but okay.
No.
You
know what the main event is.
You don't have to say too much about this match.
No?
Excessive
Have you
Violence
experienced skewers before?
Excessive
I've
Violence
also
new
experienced
kid,
Masada.
Tommy Dean taking on the ultra-violent Masada. And,
Don't
man,
eat the
this is
sticker,
going
cat.
down. I told you, it's a good thing she's pretty. Because she is not smart.
I click a pin at you.
No, it's
I don't know how it works.
I always enjoy Masada, obviously. And I enjoy, it's very weird, because I've said it before, I enjoy seeing my friends get the hardcore matches they want, even though they're going to die. Tommy Dean has wanted more physical, hardcore death matches. There's not a better one than fucking Masada. And I know Tommy Dean's going to get hurt. He's going to die.
Yeah.
But it is going to be amazing.
And honestly, I part of me wants to say, well, it's obvious that Masada's going to win this one because it's Masada. But at the same time, it's like, especially with the luck that Tommy's had as of late trying to just be straight wrestler.
Well, it's not really luck. The whole reason he's got this match is because he's been losing.
I know. That's what I'm
You
saying.
realize that Tommy likes this, right?
Yes.
That's the secret to this match. The secret to this match is if you go in not wanting to get hurt, you've lost.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think Tommy's actually going to embrace the skewers, take them, and kind of stand up and be like, haha, fuck you. What else you got? And it's one of those where it's...
Guarantees.
Which asking like Masada, that is a dangerous prospect, but
yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like you said,
that's the only way to be Masada.
You're going to be a little shocked that, if you think Masada's going to win. Part of me is like, no, this is this is Tommy's chance.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's going to take the fire that's been burning with the fact of the constant losses here at MPX. He's going to be able to let everything out. Now he doesn't have to worry about following the rules. Now he doesn't have to worry about, am I going to get hurt? Because he wants to get hurt.
Well, no, and that's the other thing I think we're looking past, and Dimitri brought it up in his own little way, is Tommy Dean's part of excessive violence. Mm-hmm. All of those men have experience with Masada. I almost saw Dimitri get his eye ripped out from barbed wire because of Masada. Mm-hmm. And we know Sky has had many battles with Masada. Silver, all of them, Wes, have had encounters with Masada. Tommy Dean has people he can go to, be like, what do I need to expect? What can I do? Mm-hmm. How can I go through this? And they're all going to say, oh, it's going to be a fucking death, but here's things we learned. Mm-hmm. Like, case in point, Dimitri said, hey, skewers to the hands suck.
Jeez.
Just so everyone knows, Tommy Dean isn't going into this as the underdog. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want, I guarantee everyone, like you said, everyone's like, oh, Masada, the ultra violent. Yeah, Masada's gonna. No, here's the thing. You hit the nail on the head. Mm-hmm. He's got excessive violence to go to and be like, hey, what can I expect from Masada? But also, hey, when you fought Masada, what did you do that worked?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you've got 3 different aspects of that. Yep. And what you're going to get is 3 different stories that are going to have the same points. And if Tommy's smart, he's going to pick those points, and that's what he's going to do. And if that means he has to, quote unquote, work the leg, then he'll work the leg.
Yep.
It's no offense, but if Masada's whole game plan is go ahead and get violent with me because I can handle it, then don't get violent.
Yeah.
Break his fucking leg.
And I think
don't worry about skewering his face. Break his fucking leg if you want to win the match.
And
if you can get away with skewering him, do that. But break his fucking leg.
And that's the thing I love about this, especially for the addicts, is they're going to see a different Tommy Dean. We've seen the athletic Tommy Dean. We've seen the Tommy Dean who will put on 5-star matches, that will have fun with the crowd, that's going to be a great wrestler. Now we're seeing a very vicious, excessive Tommy Dean, and not many in Texas, especially in MPX, have seen that.
Mm-hmm. Tommy Dean, I challenge you to springboard barbed wire.
Ooh, I want that.
It's just springboard, barbed wire. I don't know how that worked.
Yeah.
It's just those 2 things.
Honestly,
figure it out.
Like I said,
Tommy Dean could figure that out.
Go for it.
As much as all the other matches are going to be exciting and are very important, like I said, I think that this is the match that's going to define this year's Purge. Mm-hmm. Now let's get on to the championship matches, as we have 2 of them. We have first the Devil's Playground MPX Tag Team Championship match between the Boys and the Lost Boys once again.
Z versus S.
Yes, Z versus S. But this time, you see, there's going to be another factor that the Boys are going to have to account for, and that is the mastermind, Isaac Mazer, in the corner of the Boys. The Crypt came back at Purple Rain. They're still around.
It's amazing. I love Isaac. We all know that. And the Purge. And again, the Purge is a different atmosphere. It's a different feel. And we already know the Boys and the Lost Boys are going to murder each other. But now you have Isaac actually instructing and commanding the orders. And while, yes, Hilda's out there, I love Hilda. What the fuck is she going to do for the Boys against Isaac and the Lost Boys?
Yeah, I know. It was like we've seen Isaac Mazer spell doom for the Impact players, get Jamie Aller kicked out of, or help get Jamie Aller kicked out in the long run.
Yep.
Sorry, I started conflating 2 stories.
There you go.
But it's like the end of the Impact players was thanks to him. The end of multiple reigns has been thanks to him.
It's one of the best masterminds we've ever had. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just remember one thing. Isaac Mazer always has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that Isaac Mazer can't plan for, and that's Hilda, because he doesn't know what to expect.
Yeah, that one's going to have the unpredictability.
So your whole question is, what is Hilda going to do? I guarantee Isaac Mazer's thinking the same thing.
Yeah. But at the same time, he brought her up in his video last week He did bring up
Oh,
the Empress of Evil, Malin.
Hey, I didn't say that he didn't have a plan. I just said that he can't plan for what she will do.
Well, and I guess that's the other thing we kind of, forget about because he's been quiet and he's not on the poster. What is Daddy Hill going to do? Those are his golden child. Well, his golden child and his
and that's
brother.
actually, when it comes down to it, that's the target that Isaac Mazer has. That's exactly who he called out last week.
Yeah.
So, the Devil's Playground match between the Boys and the Lost Boys, this could go either way.
Which, I mean, hey, we get Paw Patrol table again, right? Or it's Devils. It's not the playground. It's Devils. Is Paw Patrol in hell? I feel like it is. I feel like that's one of the first circles of hell, right? It's like the first level.
I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
that's
remember, kids, ACAB includes Chase.
yes, 100%. Chase is actually a pot sniffing dog, so feed him chocolate.
I'm going to get hit
Okay, I love
later.
you again.
I'll deserve it. But yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Don't feed dogs chocolate.
And of course, when it comes down to it, I mean, if Isaac Mazer is going to stand in and stand there for his boys, there's another member of the crypt. It's not just Malin, the Lost Boys, and everything like that. There's someone else.
Don't talk about it.
No?
Don't say it. You're not allowed.
Remember? Can't talk about demons. You say
Not
it 3 times and
allowed.
they appear, and we don't want it to appear.
Not allowed.
Sorry, I want my monster back.
We have a monster, the Texas Chainsaw.
No, it's your monster.
And Remedy.
Okay, no, you're right about that
You
one.
want to talk about monsters?
Yeah.
Talk about the main event.
Yes, the main event. 2 men are going to sell their souls to try and come away the MPX champion. 1 in a million Tatum Manning, the final boss Exodus Prime, are going to be in a South Oak Cliff street fight.
Have you been to South Oak Cliff?
I was born in South
It's a little dangerous. Just saying.
I would literally not. I don't even drive through South Oak Cliff. Like, there's a lot of things that are nice in Oak Cliff, like some legendary old-time theaters. There's some great places to eat.
Yep.
Fuck it, I ain't going there.
I used to spend my summers growing up there. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
It's
it hasn't changed. It's changed, but it hasn't changed.
yeah. So Tatum, you wanted a South Oak Cliff street fight. Good luck.
I don't think Tatum wanted a South Oak Cliff street fight. He just wanted to fight Exodus. He wants to get rid of Exodus. He's tired of Exodus' mouth. He's tired of Exodus always being in his business.
Yeah, that's true. But and like he said last week, when it came down to it, when it really mattered, Exodus Prime has yet to be able to defeat Tatum Manning one-on-one in the ring.
I still don't think that's going to happen.
But yes, he's never been one-on-one, but has it been for the MPX title in the main event? Maybe the main event in a high-profile show. Exodus has always stepped up on high-profile shows.
Exodus likes to show up and show off.
He does.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, it's like I am of the opinion that during Exodus's reign, the bag of the MPX Addicts Championship, I think if Tatum had gone for that, he'd have just taken it away from Exodus once again.
Yeah, maybe. And then that's the other.
He did that, and that was just as awesome.
Well, and that's the other thing. Let's look at this. Is Exodus going to bring the bag back, or is he going to actually show style? Be like, haha, fuck y'all, look at me.
Yeah, no, it's like I could see it being just as good. I mean, still, you have people who are like, oh man, he's going to win the championship. That means he's going to bring the
only
bag
have
back.
Lugo. Settle the fuck down. No one else thinks he's winning but Lugo.
Okay.
The only reason he used that bag is because that belt represented the ugliness of the fans.
That is true.
There's no reason to hide the proof that Exodus is the man on top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Exodus has no reason to hide that.
That's true. That's
very true.
But of course, we're talking like it's going to be, Exodus winning a sure thing.
Oh no, he's not going to win. I'm telling you right now.
It's like when it comes down to it.
If he
would
have
history of Tatum Manning just wiping the floor with him.
Well, and that's another thing. Like we're talking about, shows and showing up. So does Tatum.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, yeah, sure. Exodus could possibly have Kari right in this corner, but Tatum has the Chili Boys.
Yeah, they're all
Derek out
busy.
for all we know.
They're all busy. Chili Boys and Tatum are everything in MPX. Remember?
Greg Tatum does not get my truck for the Oak Cliff match.
But it could be, it could be interesting to see how this turns out. We could see, this may be the final nail in the coffin for civil disorder. It may, be that this drives Exodus off if he loses. But also at the same time, this may be his final ascension to the top of the mountain, like we were talking about.
Here's the question: is he the final boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out this weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely. Looking forward to that.
Tune in Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you have your tickets for that. It is
Same MPX time, same MPX
all
place.
but sold out, from what I am told.
Yes. Again, it's the Purge.
Makes me very glad I'm a season pass holder.
We always talk about the 4 big shows, but the Purge it's slowly becoming one of those top shows that we might start having 5 shows where you got to be at.
Yep.
All I'm just saying is, if you do not have a ticket for the Purge and you cannot get a ticket for the Purge, definitely look into the MPX network.
Yep.
Because, oh my God.
I thought you were going to say you're scalping tickets.
Oh
Like,
my
shit.
God. You do not want to miss this. You'll actually possibly be a lot safer if you're watching at home. Wait. Hold on. Does the Purge... Okay, so the Purge is happening in the MPX Event Center, but if you're watching the Purge, is the Purge active for those that are watching? Because if that's the case, then we have a whole nother problem. Because then if you're watching the Purge, and everything is now illegal, then someone can break into your house and do terrible things.
Whose home do you want to break into?
I didn't want to break into anyone's home.
I feel like you have a grudge that you're like, I got to get rid of.
But as I've already said, I'm not gonna be at the show.
That's a smart
And if I
move.
want to watch it, I want to make sure I don't have a lot of enemies, but I don't want them coming to my house just because I'm watching the Purge and be like, now I can beat you up and you can't sue me.
Yeah.
I just need to know this.
Yeah. Now I think if you have MPX Network and it's live and you're watching, you're part of the Purge.
Yep.
Shit.
But of course, while
made
this may
some
have
enemies, haven't
run
you?
long, we definitely need to do something about getting that other show with Tony up for the Red River and Texoma. But we have, of course, show's going to run long. I don't care. James Johnson is here with us, the king of Texas Cruiserweights, the Gigolo, the Angel of Misery, the assistant to the Monster Hunter.
Assistant Monster Hunter, yeah.
Why?
Why? Yeah,
Why?
That's the question.
Yep.
And the answer.
Yep. And of course, the owner and proprietor of James Johnson's Journey to Stardom.
Yep,
Couldn't
James
find
Johnson's
that,
Journey
couldn't
to
figure out that
Superstardom.
final J, could you?
Nope, it's James Johnson's Journeys
But
to Superstardom.
I wasn't allowed to call you JJ either, so that was weird.
yeah, no, he got told multiple times, stop calling him JJ.
Related to that, but not related to that. A long time ago, I was going to be, after I was Gigolo James Johnson, I was going to be part of a team, a boy band team, so Mikey B would be proud of me. We were going to be called the New Pop Revolution, and it was going to be, I know 3 guys. It was me, Shay, and Brian, and so it was going to be Shay, Brian, and JJ. Jay.
So that's why no.
Yeah.
Okay.
No wonder whenever, I said that, and Richard, like, don't ever fucking say that again. Oh, okay, sorry.
Cruiserweights are supposedly 205 right now.
Yeah. And speaking of which, James, yes, actually, when I first actually got to see you in person, my first thought was, it looks like James Johnson. What the?
Yeah, good job, Jake.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, his name's James. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. 225 down to 205.
At 215.
215.
It just keeps shifting,
No
much like
limits.
my weight.
To cruiserweight is a state of mind, man.
Oh,
Thank you.
cruiserweight is definitely a state of mind.
Yeah.
And in fact, in some states, it's now legal to get as high as you want to be a high flyer.
That's good.
Not in Texas, though.
No.
But if you wanna-
You got to go to Oklahoma for that, but
But if you want to see a lot of shoot fights,
But,
that is definitely Texas.
Texas.
So yeah, let's go ahead and start with our usual one. How did you get into wrestling?
Well, the most basic answer probably is my father was into it because his stepdad, my grandfather, the only grandpa I ever knew, used to take him to the Sportatorium 2 nights a week, and just they love that. They love that. They took me when I was younger. When I was younger, I hated going to the Sportatorium. Hated it. I was just like, ugh, it's so late. It's dark and smoky. Why are we here? And that was before I liked wrestling. And then I started watching WWF, and I was like, oh, look at this Hulk Hogan guy. Look at this Ultimate Warrior. Holy shit. And so then I fell in love with wrestling. And then when I went back to the Sportatorium, it was the sad end days of the Sportatorium. And I loved it. So a case can be made that even when I went as a kid, it was still the sad end days of the Sportatorium. But point is, that's exactly how I fell in love with wrestling. It was through my grandpa, through my father. My grandpa was a wonderful technician. In fact, he had, and still to this day I have, thanks to him, a 100 complete Commodore 64 in complete working order. Wow. He was a technical genius back in the day. He had all the newest tech, so he had 2 VCRs hooked up so he could rent VHS tapes or borrow VHS tapes from wrestling fans and make copies of them for wrestling fans and tape trade. My grandpa, my 70-something-year-old grandpa, was a tape trader in the 80s.
Wow.
That is amazing.
I did not realize this until after he passed away in 2007. Wow. I didn't realize he was a tape trader.
Did you just
I
all
didn't,
the tapes?
No, I saw them all when I was a kid. I watched them all, but it wasn't until I watched sometime in 2009, 2010. I watched a fan-made YouTube documentary about the tape traders, and I'm like, and just people talking, and my grandpa was even mentioned in it. My grandpa didn't have a message board name or anything.
Right.
They just called him Big Al. And so I couldn't believe he was a tape trader. It blew my mind. But somewhere in now that's the house I live in right now, there is just stacks and stacks of VHS tapes of old New Japan, old WCW,
nice.
WWF Coliseum home video stuff recorded from the Delawares and shit like that. It was crazy. And I knew none of this until I was already training to be a wrestler. Which, by the way, my grandfather paid for. My grandfather paid out of his own pocket for me to become trained to be a pro wrestler against the wishes of my parents. In secret. And so that's how I got involved with wrestling. I actually started training with NWA Southwest. Richard knows about NWA Southwest. Unfortunately, I did not meet Richard, even though he was booking NWA Southwest at the time. I think at the time he had actually... I don't know if this is for sure because I never once showed up to one of their shows. Because back in the day, we were not
You weren't told to be security and shit?
Not at my age, because I wasn't supposed to be training at 16.
Oh, okay.
But certain people like their money.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I signed up, Kit Carson was supposed to be the trainer. In between me signing up and then 3 weeks later, I guess he had a falling out with Ken Taylor. Apparently anyone who knows NWA Southwest knows that everyone had a falling out with Ken Taylor. So... I was
From
actually
what I've heard,
trained.
even Ken Taylor had a falling out with Ken Taylor.
Yeah, I was actually trained by whoever the hell decided to show up on the training days for about 7.5 months.
So is that why Richter says that he trained you?
Yeah.
I don't know why Richter says he trained me. I've never known that. I do know that I was very nervous when I first started wrestling with Richter because I had seen him at TCW. And he had done some deathmatch shit, and at the time, not that Richter's not talented, but at the time, Richter was he was next level type guy. He was not the old school guy. He was one of those guys that was pushing into the new age of wrestling with spots and quick pace things and kickstand head bumps and things like that. And so I was definitely. A little nervous. I don't know how much of my history Richter knew, but yeah, no, he didn't train me.
Yeah, no, he talked about that on our show.
But he definitely worked with me more than most people did when I was actually getting finally back into wrestling. Because what happened is I got trained. I was too young. Nobody wanted to use me. Also, I was so tiny that I was not allowed to be on wrestling shows technically. Back in the day, if you were like my height, which was like 5'4.5" at the time, nobody wanted me on a show. I was literally 125 pounds and 5'4". Nobody gave a shit. Okay, nobody. And but Richter worked with me and things like that, and so yeah, I did learn a lot from him. In fact, I would say that if it weren't for Richter, JT LaMotta, David Fuller, I don't think I would have had a career, simply because...
That was the other one I was going to mention, was the fact that Richter talked about on our show. Him and LaMotta were like the first ones to bring that East Coast style of wrestling and everything like that to Texas.
He was 100%, that is 100% true. They were the first to bring that style to Texas. Mm-hmm. And it was something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
The first year I met JT LaMotta, he broke my nose 6 times. So that was fun.
Yeah.
So we had that happen, but then we definitely got the whatchamacallit. We got onto PCW Uncut. We did a couple of those Mexican Lucha Bazaar shows that we talked about. But I mean, honestly, I didn't get the best of training from NWA Southwest. Like I said, their head trainer quit before I showed up there, and then I got training by random people. Zane Morris was there a couple of weeks. Samir of the Overboys. And Joey Corman was there. He trained me a little bit. Neither of them fucking remembered me like 3 years later when I actually started wrestling after I was out of high school and everything. Because what I did, basically, I got trained. People were like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Said, okay, I guess I'm not going to be a wrestler. Then I went to, then I finished school and then did, shows with Fuller, did my own shows, which were just backyard wrestling in a ring. Just things like that. And it was, for a while, it was just like for funsies.
Right.
And then thanks to David Fuller, who saw me and said, hey, this kid actually has some talent. I was able to kind of work with Fuller's group of guys. And then through Fuller, I met LaMotta. Through LaMotta, I found PCW. Of course, through PCW, Dave Dunning's a good friend of mine. Dave Dunning's a good friend of mine. Helped me get on PCW Uncut.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started. I did have one dark match on Full Throttle with Scott Mustaine before I was ever on Uncut, but I'm not sure Richard Hill even remembers that. I do remember that during the match, we went to the outside, which was, again, I was told, like, hey, show what you got, right?
Right.
So we go to the outside, and we went to the outside, and he, like, whipped me to the guardrail, and I sprung up to the guardrail and did, like, a moonsault.
Yeah.
And then, rolled him back in, and I thought that was cool. And then, like, apparently got to the back, and everyone was like, dark matches shouldn't fucking go to the outside. And I was like, okay, my bad, sorry.
I'm still my bad. You said show my shit.
Like, to be fair, I never once met Richard.
Right.
At that, I'm not sure he was booking at that time. I think he was booking at that time, or he could have had a falling out. The point is, I can't remember meeting Richard that time, but whoever told me to work on that was like, yeah, show your shit, see what you got, blah 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 blah. And then so me and Scott Mustaine did that, and then we got in trouble, and then I didn't get asked back, and then Dave Dunning's his uncle called in a favor because his uncle was good friends with Action Jackson at the time, and got us both booked on an Uncut. And in our match, thanks to also my knowledge of JT LaMotta, me and Dave Dunnings were having a match, and then we got attacked by JT LaMotta and Wally Darkman at the time, was named G Slice, and we got attacked by them, and that was our first shot on Uncut. And Goo, who was the booker, liked us and asked us to come back. That's how I got started in officially started in the business, just like that.
Nice.
Kind of a bunch of dumb luck.
Right. What was the exact time, like you said, you trained, you were 16 or whatever. What was the exact time that you said you stopped training and then kind of got back into it?
Well, the reason I stopped training is simply because they stopped training me.
Right.
Like, it was just kind of a, no, we're fucking done. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. And then that was in 98. So in '98, that was when I trained during the late spring, early summer '98 for about 6.5 months, I think. Strangely enough, I can't remember very much of that time. I had one match a dark match on a show against Samir. At that time, he was part of the Overboys. He had Mike Page as his manager. And then after that, it was like, nope, nothing for you. Nope, didn't hear from anybody. And I was 16, 17 at the time. I didn't care. Like, I didn't know how to, and this was before cell phones. I didn't have like, I had one of those flip things that had all the numbers on it where you open it and it unfolds out. So like, I had like some wrestlers' numbers. Right. So every now and then I call and be like, hey, is there any chance it's Spuzz? I'd leave a message and they wouldn't answer. They would never call me back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe it's not their number, but they just don't give a shit. So, but yeah, and then about 2002, 2003 is when I started doing my own, like, just whatever, because I was out of high school, just for fun. Met Fuller about 2003, 2004, started working with Fuller. So around 2005, I got up to PCW. It was around that time.
Okay.
Got lucky. Uncut was not PCW, by the way.
Right.
Uncut was the trainee show
I was
for
going to
PCW.
say, Richard explained it because modern day servers like you have Raw and then you have NXT. NXT was kind of like PCW Uncut.
Uncut was NXT. Yeah. So I was on NXT for about 8 months, and then thankfully Mike Fox took a liking to me. And when Richard took over booking of Uncut, Mike Fox took a liking to me, and Richard and Mike Fox are close friends. So he took a liking to me because, and again, someone my size, the only reason I got jobs is because I could make other people look good.
And that was, I remember an argument I had with Richard once. It was the first time Wes got booked. I was like, you should book him more. And he goes, hey, he's tiny. I was like, don't be that guy. He goes, oh, fuck you. I am the one who used the cruiserweights in Texas. And he gave me a history lesson right there.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, okay, I'm sorry.
Richard went to bat for the cruiserweights and got in trouble for using the cruiserweights. Wow. We got shit on heavily by the guys at PCW because we were outshining all their main event guys all the time. In fact, they took a yearly match off of a big show and made it the week before's main event every year just because when we did it at the big show, it was so above and beyond every other match, people couldn't remember what the fuck happened after it. We had a 6-person ladder match that was on, I believe, before Capital Punishment every year. I could be wrong. I always get the names of the PCW shows mixed up. But it was, and so we did it 1 year on Capital Punishment, and then for the next 3 years it was the show before Capital Punishment, the show before Capital Punishment, and then we weren't on the big show. Cruiserweights didn't get to be on that big show. Fuck that. But but yeah, Richard 100% did use the cruiserweights and did let us kind of have free reign. Exactly. That's exactly. That's exactly what it sounded like whenever Richard was in the office after that. Oh my God, Richard was like, "But they're good wrestlers." And yeah, that's exactly what the Bussies sounded like. But yeah, so that was kind of what we luckily, were a part of. And at that time, I 100% believe this, and I don't think this is just me being a jackass, but I think that we were putting on better matches than any other promotion on the planet at that time. Now, on the planet's a big thing. Okay, I feel like we were doing better matches than WWE on a consistent basis. Our cruiserweight division was better than TNA or ROH on a consistent basis on that time frame, guaranteed, hands down, guaranteed. We did TLC matches before TLC matches were invented, and we did them fucking killer. Wait, no, that was 2001. Okay, not before they were invented, but we were doing them better. Not with the production value. We didn't have 18 tables to go through. But we were doing more unique spots and maybe more story-based things with ladder matches than most people were. And I would put that roster of 2007, 2006, 2007, 2008 roster of PCW guys up against any promotion at that time, bar none. Bar none.
That's awesome.
So we got 2 new questions.
Oh, 2 questions.
Okay.
How was the rivalry between Gigolo James Johnson and the Centerfold Matthew Palmer?
We didn't really have much of a rivalry ever. We unfortunately, no matter where we've wrestled, have never had much of a big rivalry. We have been against each other, but most of the time we are teammates in places we've gone. If you ask me where the rivalry would have been, 8 to 9 years ago, I think we could have put on some killer matches. Matt now is a much deeper and smarter performer than he was then, and I am much heavier and absolutely have none of the former ability that I used to. So now it would be a terrible, terrible showcase of bad wrestling. It would be Matt trying his hardest to make me look serviceable, but we never really had any type of rivalry, unless it's a friendship rivalry where Matt would eat like 3 fucking value meals from Taco Bell, and then I would be trying to diet and exercise for like one of the dozen times I've tried and failed. I'd be trying to diet and exercise and have like 1 soft taco that like I only ate 1 soft taco, and that motherfucker would turn on the camera and be like, I just got done doing like a 3-mile sprint, and James is eating Taco Bell, like right after he got done eating 3 value meals, but he doesn't show that shit. And so I'm just like, yeah, go to hell, Matt. And he would routinely kick my bathroom door in when I was on the toilet, take pictures and post of me. There's a lot of things that, I mean, I guess there was a rivalry now that I think about it. It was just really one-sided. Really one-sided, yeah.
And Phil Noir asks where you were 9 months before Ray Everett's birth.
I don't even know who Ray Everett is.
Yeah. It's Phil. We never know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's stuck in like the 20s, so.
Phil, I'm sorry to say this. We're just going to skip that question.
Nice one.
The other question from Greg was, what happened to the assistant to the Monster Hunter when y'all were running down the road?
Again, Matt has a lot better wind than me. He did outrun me. Unfortunately, he did have to come home at some point. And I know where he lives and sleeps. Athena was out of the state, doing what she does, wrestling and things like that. So I hid in his bathroom. I filled his tub with bubble bath, and I put on a snorkel.
Nice.
And I didn't wear it where you think I would. but I did hide in the bathtub for him to come back. And as soon as he came in, he stopped at the door and said, "Why is my bathtub full of bubble bath?" I then lunged. He again ran. He's very quick. We've had hit or miss since then.
Mad Prince wants to know, how and when did you come up with
Oh,
the
God.
O-Face?
I came up with the O-Face in the late 90s while I was training, while I was doing backyard wrestling at a park. Before I got into a ring, of course, like any other red-blooded American who tried this at home, despite all the warnings, did backyard wrestling with a bunch of my friends, loved doing a stunner. Didn't have a top rope, but we had a twisty slide. Yeah. So I climbed halfway up the twisty slide, and I wanted to jump off and do a stunner, and then, that shit don't work. So I tried to figure out, okay, how can I jump off this twisty slide and do a stunner? And it just kind of happened, and I just liked the feeling, and people were like, hey, that looked cool. And then one day, when I was teaming with Dick Loin, also known as Magnum, at PCW Uncut, it was our odd couple team. It's another thing you can say other than strange bedfellows.
True.
Weird fuckers.
That's also something else you could say.
Weird fuckers. Yeah, that's the same thing as strange bedfellows. So don't bring that up. We won't say it anymore. But so when we were going through that, we always did. Back in the day, we had a third person named Stephen Murphy as part of a group that we were on, and we did what we called the Triforce kick because it was Zelda related, and there were 3 of us doing a super kick.
Nice.
And so we called it the Triforce kick.
Was it? Did you actually form a triangle, or was it all 3 facing?
Oh, it was all 3 facing.
Oh, okay.
We did the triangle thing, but like it just never worked out well. It looked good every time. It also hurt the person every time.
I was like, I don't see that being a safe move.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
it's
gonna say, I
not.
guess you can't see the back coming,
you either hit the back of their head or you hit them in their face or you hit both. There's no middle ground. So we would do it from the front, and so we're trying to figure out a way to finish this match. We're supposed to go over and become these tag team champions out of nowhere, and we're supposed to, beat Chris Richter in the first round of this tournament. Chris Richter and Stephen Murphy, who we do the Triforce kick with, so we can't use him on that. So it was after my days of holding the coconut for Chris Richter. Long story short, we just tried to figure out a finish that wasn't a double super kick because we didn't like that. So we did a double super kick, and then I just really dainty and uncomfortably got in the middle of the ropes, and I hiked myself up onto the top rope, sitting on the top rope while standing on the second, and just jumped off of there into the O-face, and then Richter took a front flip bump from it, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Okay, I guess that's my new finisher."
You're like, I'm onto something.
So then I was like, I bet I could do it off the top rope, just like at the playground. And so, yeah, that's how the O-Face came about. And I've only taught it to one person. That's Athena.
Yeah.
And she's taken it and turned it into the Eclipse, or now it's the O-Face again, but she does it way better now. She just drops on people. Yeah. Mine's more of a floaty, catch me, and hers is a time to die, bitch.
So Tommy, there you go. Where did he come up with that? And when did he come up with that? The playground.
And the playground, Tommy says here that the playground's a good place, but I just want to reference one thing about the playground. I came up with the O-Face on the playground, but I also got compression fractures from the playground. So that definitely screwed up my career. So, I guess it's a good place.
Yeah, it is a dangerous place. I mean, we've seen playground matches before. Tommy versus Gabe. Yeah,
Rulers.
Are you guys talking about those popples? The little.
Oh, good God!
Are you talking about popples?
Oh.
Talking about the little fluffy things that are balls and you open them up, they're little creatures, popples?
Yeah.
No.
That's exactly what the bussy said when I talked about the popples.
There's a reason I put the disclaimer on the lead into the intro for the show now.
Also, funny story. I'm sure Richard will tell you better. The bussies, since I was so pasty, they wanted me to literally be the gimmick from Powder, the movie Powder. So they legitimately hated. They didn't just hate me because I was short and skinny. They hated me also because I was white. Which is popular now, but back then, that was a bad joke. Sorry. But yeah, then they would always harp on me oh man, he needs a tan. Oh, if you just get a tan. And tanning's really bad for your skin. So and also, there's some people out here that'll understand this. I'm the type of white that when you tan, you burn. You don't go brown. You don't brown. You burn.
You're either,
and that's it. And then once you heal from the burn, you're just pale.
Are you Irish a little bit?
You're
no, I'm a quarter Japanese, so you'd think that would be able to that's why I was in the Asian nations, bitch. But you would think I would know that, but no. So then I tried to spray tan, right? And I did the spray tan, and man, was that awkward. I had 1 week off the show, so I was pasty white, missed a week, and then the next week I was fucking dork. And so I was okay, maybe they'll think it's natural. It's during summer. Right. It's okay. And then
we're in Texas.
And then right after my match, one of the bussies comes out for a promo, and he cuts a promo and he talks about putting someone in a match against me, and he calls me and Gigolo James Johnson, the man with more mystic tan than anyone in the world. And I'm You bitched at me for a year to get a tan. I get a tan and you make fun of me? Fuck you! Never did it again. I can eat a dick. But yeah, no, like, yeah, so that, man.
That's,
If Richard ever tells you he fought for me, he fought for me.
I believe that. Honestly,
Well, and I guess
even early on in my career in the business and everything like that, one thing that was very, very clear was the connection between you and Richard.
I mean, it was really odd. I think the first time Richard ever yelled at me, he felt really bad. He literally felt really bad and then held me and said, "I'm so sorry." Yeah. Like you can ask him about it. Like he was pissed at a show being really bad. Like we had a bad show on Uncut one night, and Robert Evans, who was in the main event, he literally wrestled a crash pad, which was just a fucking. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Was it the person-shaped crash pad or a big?
No, it's just like a big block.
Wow.
And he had a great fucking match with this crash pad, and it was
Kenny Omega eats your heart
hilarious.
out.
Oh god, it was so hilarious. Oh, it was far before Kenny Omega did that shit. It was so funny and so good, and I was just raving about it. And Richard just turns to me and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he just goes off because he is so mad. Like, and I'm like, "It wasn't Robert's fault." I'm like, he had a good match with a. I'm sorry. And then immediately hugged me and said, "I'm sorry."
So you've talked about it a little bit. How hard was it for your size and everything to kind of come up in wrestling?
Luckily, because of the way PCW was very family oriented, and it was a weekly show, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So I would wrestle every single week. This was my schedule. It got crazy. It was Friday night PCW Uncut, Saturday night PCW Full Throttle, Sunday early in the afternoon wrestling at a bazaar, Sunday night wrestling at another show, just whatever. That's 4 matches every single weekend for about 3 years. But PCW being what it was, the thing that really helped me is that I got to be around really talented guys and learn from them every single week. At my time when I was on Uncut, the people that were on Uncut with me, Brandon Collins, Nobi Bryant, Mace Malone. You know, for a while, Keith Lee.
Yeah.
I was Keith Lee's first singles match in professional wrestling. Things like that. Like I was around. These are the people that I was around on a weekly basis, and that was on the trainee show.
Yep.
I was also on the real show, the big show with Tim Storm, Apocalypse, Mike Fox, Action Jackson,
Shadow.
Lance Hoyt. You name every single person like in Texas wrestling that's ever been anybody in that time frame. I was on the show with them weekly, learning, and they always were very considerate of me. I've always been very respectful and very professional, and when it comes to that to that type of atmosphere, I'm always very thankful for anything that I can be taught. I'm a 100% believer of you never stop learning. The day you stop learning is the day you should retire, because if you ever think you're done learning, you're a dumbass. And there was nothing like working with, and I wasn't just on a show with those guys. Thanks to Richard's booking and thanks to his insistence on the cruiserweights, we were mixing it up with those guys.
Yep.
I was having tag matches and singles matches against Lance Hoyt. I was having matches against Mike Fox. I was in feuds with Action Jackson. And I was doing all these things on a weekly basis learning. And so I actually didn't have too much of a hard time once I got to PCW. And then, of course, once Uncut shut down, I went to XCW. And again, that was the same type of atmosphere. It was a lot of like, hey, you're here to work on the product, and hey, let's all help each other. I got very lucky, despite the fact that PCW and XCW fucking hated each other,
Right.
and like wouldn't stop like fighting, like and just talking shit.
If you worked for one, you couldn't work for the other.
Yeah, we've
For a
heard
while,
that story.
for a while that was the way it was. I never played that bullshit because it always pissed me off, and I was always like, all right, well if working for this, if me busting my ass for you because I was PCW first.
Yeah.
And so when I decided I wanted to go to XCW, one of the bussies, the big Mike Bussy, sat me down in his office. He was like, they say a lot of bad stuff on the line. We've done really good for you, by you, and blah, blah, blah. And so it would be a shame if you went over there and we would have to stop on the line. And I told him, like, with all due respect, it would be a shame because if after everything that I've done with my body for you and your company, you think that me giving attention of one day, which, again, a lot of people won't tell you this, uncut, we didn't get paid. PCW made money.
Yeah.
They charged an entrance fee, but we didn't get paid. So I worked for free one night and got paid for working another night for them. So when they stopped the free show that I was working for free for them, I decided to pick up another show working Fridays at XCW. So I told him, like, it would be a shame because if I busted my ass for your company, you know, working for you for 4 years, working for free on a show for 4 years, and you would deny me the opportunity to continue doing well for your show, that would be a shame. So unless you are going to tell me that you are having a Friday night, unless you are restarting Uncut, I'm going to work another show on Fridays. And I'm sorry if that offends you. And he said, thank you for your honesty. I walked out. I never heard anything about it again. I kept getting booked on both places. I don't know if Richard had to go to bat for me for that specifically, but 100%, I am not about any company saying, you can't work for this company, you can't work for this. If you sign me to a fucking contract, then you can tell me where I work. Other than that, no.
Yeah.
You're lucky I work for you. And that should be the way all professional wrestlers are.
Yes.
If you are working for any company that tells you you can't work for somebody else, quit that fucking company because that company is a piece of shit. It's 100%.
That's sound advice. Oh, hey, JD's in the comments.
Jerome!
He loves you. May not like MPX, but he loves you.
yeah, there's some...
Jerome is one of those guys who has grown so much, always had that potential. And at first, his potential hurt him. And he'll be the first to tell you, I think, that at first he was told about his potential, and he got a little bit of a big head for it. And at certain places, especially XCW, he was pushed very strong, very early, without much of a
Base?
Not base because he was good,
Yeah,
but without much of a gosh, I want to say, if usually in this business, if you get a push early, especially with a company or someone puts you with somebody big or anything like that, they kind of explain to you like, hey, this is kind of this is your tryout, basically.
Right.
We're giving you this opportunity. Prove you're worth what we're giving you. It didn't come across that way for him. No one told him that, hey, you know, we're booking you strong right now, specifically based on your potential and how good you are right now for where you are.
Right.
And a little bit went to his head, but he quickly, I mean, once he got like close friendships with people, he realized that. Because close friends, me, Robert Evans, Keith Lee, we all told him, you know, we were all like, hey man, you are good.
Yeah.
Just realize you are good for your time right now. You can be so much better.
Yep.
Just remember that you can be so much better. Just keep working. And he immediately stopped that attitude. Just boom. Dropped that attitude. Was like, all right, cool. Let's work. Let's get going. Let's get going. And I don't know what his deal with MPX is. I don't know any of that stuff. I haven't spoken to him about that. But I will tell you that during the time in the old building, some of the most successful MPX days were the days of the trust fund running rampant.
He was the man.
And Victor Tadlock and Joey Garcia as tag team champions walking out, and Joey Garcia accidentally throwing the tag team championship belt into the crowd. Wonderful memories of the trust fund. Jerome was also one of the guys that I really and Jerome was one of those guys who 100% wasn't shy about, he wants you to be honest with him, but he's also not shy about being honest back. So like if you are being what is it they say? They say sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes you can what is that? They say, basically, that's going to go both ways.
Yeah, no, it's one of those where
If you tell Jerome, hey, man, like, dude, that's really good. I don't think it's working. And he says, why isn't that working?
right,
And if you don't have that answer, Jerome's going to be like, don't be saying that shit.
exactly.
Don't tell me what don't work if you can't tell me why it's not working.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, fair. That's fair.
And it's
That's
also
fair.
because we've had him on our show. It's like he said, he wants to elevate everyone. You're going to match his level.
Oh,
He
yeah,
does
you have
not-
no choice.
He does not. We talked about it with Legs. Him and Legs are in the ring together. We were all worried about it. Jerome's like, no, that motherfucker's going to match me. I'm going to prove he can actually do this. And he did.
Yeah.
That's just the type of mindset he has.
Jerome is a very. If there's one thing that Jerome has that is something that I see in him that I think I possess, but it's something that I think less and less people possess. It's the ability to accurately rate and understand what your opponents are capable of. And here's the best thing, and this is the lost art, and this is, I think, when I was talking about the two different dance styles, this is the lost art, because professional wrestling should not be just about how good you are. It should be about how good you are and how you can hide the negatives.
Yep.
Every wrestler's job should be to accentuate the positives in themselves and their opponents and hide the negatives. If you do something that you know for a fact will expose a negative of your opponent, why the fuck are you doing it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like if I'm wrestling Sam Stackhouse and not that Sam Stackhouse isn't good with cardio, but his size is going to tell you that he's not going to be the fastest cardio machine. If I'm running around doing cardio spots with Sam Stackhouse the whole time and he's struggling and he's having trouble keeping up, that ain't his fault. That's my fault for putting that shit in the match.
Yeah.
This is a dance. It's a very physical, competitive, angry, violent, happy, lovely, beautiful, ugly dance. And if you don't dance with your
I'm
partner,
gonna have to go watch that back.
then what's the fucking point of dancing?
Yep.
And that's something that Jerome has in spades. Jerome will take a guy, and this is what I used to do with Jerome, because, like I said, Jerome was very talented, but didn't know his limits and didn't know just where his talent, where his thought process exceeded the talent, and where he needed to roll back on things. At first, he learned that very quickly. But this is one thing that I used to do, and this is one thing that Jerome does to this day when I watch his matches. If he knows his opponent ain't gonna keep up with him, he changes what that is. That's what wrestling's missing. Yeah. You guys are talking about Fly Death and about how they were quote unquote exposed or whatever against other teams. Do you know why that was? Because other teams were doing their shit and not caring about Fly Death.
Yep.
Not that Fly Death can't hang. It's because that's not what Fly Death does.
Right.
If I mean, it's stupid that wrestling can be anything. I love the fact that wrestling can be anything. It can be comedy, it can be serious, it can be hardcore, it can be horror, it can be absolutely anything. But if you put, for some reason, fucking Remedy in a top rope suicide dive death match, and the only way to win is to come off the top rope 3 times off each corner and hit a 450, that's fucking stupid to put Remedy in that position. And that is exactly what is happening in a lot of different shows around. Because here's the thing, right now everybody, it's more of a hey, we're all athletic, we're all really talented, we're all really gifted. It's more gymnastics. Yeah. Not that that's a bad thing, because that's literally why I was any good at wrestling, is because I was in gymnastics. It's the only reason I was good at wrestling, because I learned body control. But wrestling now is not much about the storytelling. It does have still aspects of it, but if you watch a Young Bucks match, which I'm sure everyone has watched a Young Bucks match, you're going to be like, oh, that's awesome, oh, that's cool, oh, that's great. And then you're going to think back and be like, none of that made any fucking sense.
Ricochet versus Will Ospreay.
Oh, yeah. It's just I mean, amazing, incredible match. 5 stars. It has no psychology. I'm sorry. It has psychology, but it's like the psychology of like, hey, it's the Flash versus Superman.
Yep.
Doesn't make sense on a common sense wrestling level.
That works.
Yeah.
I never thought of that analogy, but that makes so much sense.
It's just it doesn't make fucking sense. And so you've got people like, you can't tell me that if you put fucking like, okay, Will Ospreay against Rodney Mack and you're expecting a 5-star classic,
Jesus, no.
either A, Will Ospreay's going to slow the fuck down.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be forced to.
Yep. Or B, Rodney Mack's going to be like, nah, fuck this kid, and he's going to walk the fuck out because you have to work together. That's what it's about. And when you have aspects like you were saying, you know, if somebody looks to be exposed, that's because everyone in the match is not working to their strengths and accentuating the positives while hiding the negatives. Because guess what? We all have negatives. We all have bad parts. We all have bad things that we aren't good with. You know, some of us sometimes even try to make them a strength, like me using a death driver as a finisher. Not a good idea. I don't care. I had a pretty Death Valley driver. Anyway, it was stupid for me to use as a finisher. That was my finisher as a cruiserweight king. So stupid. I'm the cruiserweight king, and I'm using a power move for my finish. What the fuck? Okay.
Which, I mean, and going back to a little bit, you're talking about, you know, having to work together and stuff like that, and we heard Palmer talk about it a little bit. Besides the Hanson incident, did you have people that just kind of refused to work with you because of your size and stuff?
Not necessarily because of my size. I don't really remember having anyone that had a problem working with me. For some reason, Charlie Haas fucking hated me. But loved me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Palmer talked that story too, where he's like, Haas would beat the shit out of you, then tag in, soft as shit. He goes, okay, it's always because of the heat or whatever, so I'll get it, and then he'll get it, and then no, he still beat the shit out of me.
Still beat the shit out of me. I got the shine, and I still got the shit beat out of me by Charlie Haas. And it's not, and it had and it wasn't like he was being like, he wasn't taking advantage of me, but he sure as fuck was laying it in. But you know, it's been like, so. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really had any problems with any professionalism.
Yeah,
I've only gotten in one real backstage altercation, and I hashed that out with someone. And Hanson, I didn't have any type of altercation with. He was just very unprofessional.
Yeah,
an asshole, and didn't care if he dropped me legitimately directly on my head multiple times.
No, that was one of my first memories. My first 2 memories of you was one at MPX because you came out to the Friends theme, and I'm a huge Friends fan.
Oh,
so
fucking Richard.
I loved it. And then the second one, it was you and Palmer in that 4-way tag, and I've never seen someone bounce off a ring as hard and as high as you did with Ray and Hanson.
Ray is amazing.
Yep.
Great guy. Hanson's a shitbag.
Yep.
And like, and I don't know if they ever told you the whole story of this, but like, so we're there early. Me and one other, I know it was me, Palmer, and someone else. We're talking about our match. We're supposed to be in this 4-way tag match or something.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was Kenny
War Machine. It was Palmer and Gigolo. It was Starks and Carson who ended up winning it, and who was the fourth? It
was Payday and Kenny.
Okay,
Kenny Steele and Payday. Steel, what are they called?
Steel Money?
Steel Money, thank you. Steel Money Incorporated. And so I was there with Steel Money Incorporated, talking about the match and going over, and then me and Ricky were talking about it for a little bit. Me and Carson are always in good. Carson was a hell of a talent. Same thing.
Great trainer, apparently.
Same thing. Amazing trainer. Same thing with Moonshine when he would work with Carson. These guys had no problems with me whatsoever. Yep. Loved me because they knew I was there literally to make everyone look good, but make them look good because I know they were going over. Again, like I said, if I put these guys over strong, they will do the same for me. That's my thought process. So we're sitting there going over what we can do, thought processes, not planning out the match because we obviously need everyone for that, but just going over stuff. Hanson walks out. He's just like, hey guys, you know, he's nice. He's shaking our hands, you know, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Yeah. And then later on, we all get dressed. And so, of course, Ray Rowe, we've already talked with Ray about some stuff. Hanson's just sitting over there being Hanson, not caring or whatever. So me and Kenny and Ricky Starks go up to Hanson, and we're just like, hey, you got anything you want to put in this match we can put together? And he looks at me and goes, you're a fucking wrestler? Oh, shit. What the fuck? That was how he said hi to me.
Wow.
And then he proceeded to...
Man, my opinion of them had already...
And then he proceeded...
Fallen, but damn.
Then he proceeded to nix all my ideas when I pitched them. And so I walked away, pitched them to Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks walked back over with me, pitched them to Hanson, and Hanson said, okay. All my ideas were great coming from Ricky. Great. Everyone. Not a single one turned down coming from Ricky. And every one of them had them doing stuff to me because that's what I was coming up with, ways to make other people look good. That's what I've always done. That's always been my number one goal. If everybody is working to make everybody look good, I know one of my main skills is to make other people look good. That's one of my big main skills, so I'll do that. And so I was doing that for him, but he just decided he was going to be a dickhole and drop me on my head multiple times. So, if he, I don't know, gets cancer or gets hit by a car or dies, whatever. No big loss for the human race, but,
What so because you've been in so many tags and so many stables, because you were in ROH with Kirby. You and Palmer were a team.
I mean, at that time, ROH was being talked about by everyone in the wrestling world.
Yes, it was.
Everyone in the wrestling world was hyped about ROH. They were talking about possibly getting us on TV. New Japan was going to work with us. There's a lot of hype on the internet about ROH. But keep going. Sorry.
So you also had what was it? The one with Fox and Mace. And
the Faithful.
The Faithful, yes.
The Faithful. I was in 3 different variations of the Faithful, and I loved being in the Faithful.
Yep.
I thought it was really good. Each variation was different, and in each variation I had a different role, which I enjoyed.
You weren't always the Angel of Misery?
Oh no, I was always the Angel of Misery,
Oh, okay.
but in my opinion, when you have a faction, you have certain roles.
Right.
So you have your muscle.
Right. I was gonna say you usually have the muscle, the main guy, and the tag team.
Yeah, you have the muscle, the main guy, and the tag team. But if you break down the roles even more than that, you have your muscle, your main guy, your tactician, and your bitch.
Yep.
In a heel faction, there's always a bitch. I loved being the bitch. Oh my god, it was so fun to be the bitch in a heel faction. If you've been in a heel faction and you're the bitch, you know what I'm talking about. You're the one that gets to make all the mistakes, so the baby faces get their comeuppance, even though you probably escape with the title.
Yep.
Your guy gets away with the belt, he wins the main event, and you guys have cheated to win. Well, everyone else gets away, but not you, because you fucked up. And you get to take everybody's finish and lay in the ring while the crowd goes crazy for the baby faces. It's such a great role. It's so much fun. And at the same point, you again, with my skill set, my main goal being I'm good at selling. I'm good at making people look good. It was great. I remember at one point I was in the MPX intro video once every 3 seconds. It was at one point it was hilarious. It was great. Like Kirby hitting me with a move, Matt doing a pose, Kenny hitting me with a move, someone else doing a tag team move to someone, me hitting a move, and it was so much fun. Like I loved that. But that's the bitch heel. The little bitch is the best role in any stable. So I was that in the PCW version of the Faithful, and I loved that role. That also means I get to get beat up by people like managers and stuff. So that's always fun. Like I get to be like mouth off to a manager and they kick me in the balls. That's super fun. It's just stupid. But that was always fun. But then when Fox started the stable in MPX, I was more the muscle. It was Fox, Scott McKenzie, who was the tactician. I was actually, strangely, the muscle, not because I was strong, but because I was fucking mean.
Yes.
When we were the Faithful in a very short-lived version out at NTWA in 7 Points, I remember Fox saying, like, man, for all those people who wonder why Gigolo's in our group, it's because he's fucking mean. I'll never forget attacking the baby faces. They sent us out to destroy Cody Knight, who was their like big badass baby face. So we beat the shit out of him. And so the baby faces would hit the ring and we would just lay them out. Just lay them all out. Like, I mean, baby faces hit the ring and we're all just laying them the fuck out. It's me, Fox, Mace Malone, Tim Storm.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is gonna get in the ring against that? Stupid people. And so they all run in, and they don't run in at the same time. They all run in 2 or 3 at a time, like dumbasses.
Wrestling logic.
Yeah. Oh, and Claudia. Claudia was our female. She was
nice.
She was the Angel of Mercy. So she's in the ring, and so Athena comes in, and she slides in the ring, and she stands up right at the ropes. Claudia comes over. She forearms Claudia. Claudia backs up, and I just straight boot Athena. I'm like right next in the corner, and I just turn and I just pump kick Athena right in the face.
Wow.
And Fox in the ring goes, oh shit, and like just so much fun just being that like vicious little fuck. And like that was a lot of fun, and that was one of my favorite. Then I got to another thing that I was actually very proud of. I'm one of the very few people that was picked to be part of the Dark Circle, which is Tim Storm and APOC's personal group. It had a couple of members, but the members, as far as I know, have been Tim Storm, APOC, Lance Hoyt, and Damien. And then because Richard Hill doesn't speak Spanish and thought there was a fucking Mexican vampire, for literally 1 week, we got Cervantes as a member of the Dark Circle. And it was just fucking abysmal. And they beat him up and kicked him out the next week because it was such a shit bad idea on Richard's part. But like they let me in the Dark Circle in XCW, so I'm very proud about that. Yep. Is that I'm one of the few members that Tim Storm and them were like, yes, you are a member of the Dark Circle. Nice. So and that was fun. Again, I was the bitch in that part. I love that. As far as tag teams go, I loved my tag team with Matt, of course. Yep. We had various versions of Simply Irresistible.
So I was going to say some of the greatest vignettes and promos.
But again, I'll also yell at Richard again for this because Richard made me the fucking friends guy at MPX and then didn't let me have friends. So I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, he even used me and Matt's videos in my intro and then like didn't let me and Matt team.
Nope.
I'm like,
Matt's the
really?
champ, sir. You're not allowed
really,
to be with Matt.
Like, you want, and did he ever tell you the reason why I was the friends guy? No. Did he fucking tell you? Okay, let me tell you this story, because this is fucking stupid. So, although, to be fair, he did ask if I had a better idea for this, and I was like, no. So, you know Grado?
Yeah, Grado. Yeah.
Grado, whatever. You know, he had that song that everyone could sing to all this way to the ring. So Richard just literally wanted to lift that and give it to someone at MPX. Like, I need a song that everyone can sing to all the way to the ring.
I'm not going to lie, I did. I was one of the ones that did.
So, Friends had just got on Netflix. Netflix had just got Friends. And so he's like, oh, the Friends theme. And I'm like, fucking really? And he's like, you got a better song? And I'm like, no, shit. I'll fucking make it work, I guess. And so we did the stupid Friends thing, and I tried my damnedest to make that work. I mean, I ran out with all that. I sang along with the crowd.
Yep.
I emoted as big as I could. I begged them to let me have the couch. The one time, okay, for those who don't know, at MPX, at the old MPX building, there was a couch in the entryway because it was a couch for the gym. Mm-hmm. And so the gym owner was a dick. Possibly an in-the-closet dick who hated gay guys. That's a different story and a funny one. But anyway, point is, he was like super like, oh, don't break my shit, don't touch my shit. And so Kirby was afraid that, you know, the people would break the couch and we'd get in trouble. But I wanted, for my entrance, the couch to be in the ring. So I do my entrance, I do all the things, and I'm like playing to the crowd all while on the couch. And at the end, I do the whole like click and the lights go off. And then when they come back on, they're taking the couch out. That's all I wanted. I wanted a fucking couch in the ring, and I'd do your stupid friends thing. I got a couch for one show. Bullshit. And then I wasn't allowed. Yes, Matt, pussy dick. Sorry, that is the big joke for the guy who used to run the MPX, the old guy who ran the gym. We had. Not that it matters, but we had, a wrestler who was gay, and, in the back, he's making jokes and things like that, and he's just like, I'm gay, so, blah, 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 and he's making a joke, and the manager comes back, he goes, hey, man, that's not cool. He goes, well, I am gay, so, and he's like, that's no way to make friends. Like, I don't know what it was, but like he was just like, and he was like really like, and he like gave him like a death glare and just walked away like staring at him like, fuck you, gay man, like just weird. And then like later, Nobi debuted, and like and then after Nobi debuted, Nobi looking like Nobi, okay, and I ain't gonna lie, I was not in the best shape of my career, and so the whole he just kept walking around. The owner kept walking around. I was like, have you seen this guy? He's fucking incredible. Have you seen this guy? This guy's impressive. He just keeps talking about how good Nobi looks. And I'm like, bro, you've told 5 people in my vicinity how good Nobi looks? Like, this is fucking weird. Like, it's a little bit weird. But also, like, 2 weeks before that, we were at MPX training during the week. And, like, his wife at the time was also a bodybuilder, and she had all these girls in like thong bikini, bodybuilding girls in thong bikini doing photo shoots. And so this guy's walking around pissed off. He's like, this is a serious fucking gym. It's not some fucking bullshit, fucking porn mag, blah, blah, blah. And he's just pissed off at all these girls in thongs, like muscled girls in thongs, like taking photo ops and things like that. The following fucking week, same thing but dudes. And he's just like, real gym, yeah. I'm like, come on, man. And so like, and then he would always randomly come up and be like, yeah, you guys gonna go out and drink it after this? We're gonna go, you gonna go party? Yeah, fucking yeah. So we would joke, and we would just, every time he would walk away, we'd be like, yeah, oh yeah, gonna work out, gonna hit that creatine, gonna suck dick, man. Like we would just, and that's where the phrase pussy dick came in. That's where, so we're just, pussy dick! Like, because we would just throw that out there. It'd just be like, we would all just be joking and be like, yeah, man, I fucking fought off a saber-toothed tiger, and then I shot a bear with my bare fucking hands. I did finger guns and shot him, and it was like a fucking military, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then I sucked a couple dicks, and then I went and I drank a fucking beer, and it was fucking man. And it's like, what the fuck, man? So we made fun of that dude. He was so hardcore in the closet. It was crazy.
Fucking amazing. So back to the original question.
Sorry.
How was your, like, I guess what was your favorite stable tag team to kind of be a part of? Because
Matt says it's a terrible retelling, and it probably is, but that's the general consensus, is he would walk up to you.
I thought it was a good retelling.
We're gonna go out and get pussy this week, right, guys? Yeah, we're gonna go out, we're gonna get pussy, it's gonna be great. We're gonna take girls out, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna jerk off their dicks. And then we were like, girls don't have dicks, man. He'd be like, I meant pussy dick. That's where pussy dick came from. Sorry, Matt. I apologize. You're right.
I mean,
terrible retelling.
To be fair, you interrupted Palmer's show with a phone call. Palmer, if you'd like to call in and tell the story yourself, you can. I'm just saying.
I'm not that far off, honestly.
But yeah, so at least a lot of the addicts that are listening know you from House Sagan. Like I said, kind of going back to the original question, what I guess was your favorite time as a stable or tag?
I really enjoyed my first time in the Faithful, because it was my first time that I had been a heel in a big setting. I loved that. I also did like being in the Asian Nation.
Yeah.
There's no going back from this, Matt said. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the Asian Nation was a lot of fun. It was my first time getting to be at MPX, getting to be a big heel. Kind of that wasn't just the bitch.
Right.
And that was really fun. I did enjoy House Sagan for very different reasons. Here's my thing. Like, I don't have like a favorite stable. Like, I have favorite moments from each thing, and each things make them different. So like, like for instance, emo House Sagan was very different from House Sagan.
Right.
So I really loved House Sagan's thing, because one of the little known facts and one of the things that that they were trying to do is they were trying to show that while Dave was the head of it, Lizzie was someone who was whispering in his ear, kind of controlling, giving him bad advice, things like that.
Yep.
But also at the same time, I'm his right-hand man. So she's whispering on this side, I'm explaining on this side. And so that's kind of what he really liked, the idea of me being his tactician.
Because even though, like, he's the guy, he's the heel, you're the vet. Like, you're the one who's been through all this.
And not officially, but that's exactly what I was doing the whole time we were out there. Like, there are certain moments when, like, Dave is trying to make a statement at the end of a show, and he's beating someone down, and he's about to do the pose, and I'm like, not yet. Give it a second. Walk this way. Let him roll. One more shot to the head with the belt. One more shot. Boom. Now the pose. Things like that. And if you go back, sometimes you'll literally see me kind of just walk up to like, and I'm always like kind of like masterminding, like directing traffic. And so, like, he really, Dave really enjoyed that aspect, and he loved the fact that, like, if things had gone different, no COVID, things like that, we could have, he does think that we could have done a very, because there were a lot of ways that we could have taken, especially with Lizzie being able to control Ashton and things like that, and if they wanted to break the group apart or have some friction, there was the very much the friction between Lizzie and me. We really like the idea of the I don't know if anyone watches or watched Lord of the Rings, but Grima Wormtongue, the whole like, you're my king, he's blah blah blah, you know, like he really liked the idea of like me being that, kind of getting him away from Lizzie and like kind of sort of getting away from what she was wanting and kind of maybe her taking Byron and him and Ashton and going against me and Dave or something like that. I mean, it was discussed, not like officially with Richard or anything, but like we had ideas where we could take it and things like that.
Well, and that's because we've talked to Dave several times. That's honestly his favorite thing in wrestling is the stories.
Yeah, that's mine.
Where
100%.
we're going, and that's one reason why I always love talking to him, is because of things like that. He'll say something, you're like, oh, that's smart. Like,
oh yeah.
And in the end, wrestling, it's all about the athleticism and the matches and stuff like that. But also 90% of it is the fucking story. Like, you should feel something. Like one of my favorite quotes from Eric Bischoff, which I am very bad at because I do overthink wrestling, but it's wrestling should make you feel, not make you think.
Yeah,
and that's exactly people like you and Dave and stuff like that. When you're great storytellers, even if it's something very simple, Sagan Manning and you and Byron, 2-3 week build, but y'all told a great story out of that.
Yeah, I was 1,000% embarrassed in my performance in that. By the way, I literally did one wrestling move that wasn't a stomp or punch. That was a leg drop. I was so out of shape and out of wind due to, and I'll get to this in a second, but I was so out of shape and out of wind that I could not comfortably even do a suplex without being so winded that I thought I would have to immediately tag out, and I wasn't sure I'd be ready for the go home, the finish, because of course the most important thing about any type of match is that hot comeback, and that hot comeback was supposed to be me. And so if they have to have a hot comeback and I can only go lukewarm, it's a problem. So I saved all my energy for their bumping feeds and this and that, and I had to do a nip down, nip up, which I didn't think I could do anymore. And I was like, oh, fuck this. And thank God that was the last thing. But yeah, that's the that was a story I thought needed to be told to finish off the Sagan thing.
Right.
I tried to. I wasn't even officially like part of it, but like when it started happening, I found out that Tatum was gonna have, or that Dave was gonna have Tatum as his partner, And so I started doing the little like things like on Facebook and on the
the
page.
campaign.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, I've been trying to text you. Just hit me back. Like, I'll be there. Don't you worry. I got you. I'll be there. You
Yep.
know? And like that was the whole thing. And then,
My favorite was you and Byron at the last.
Oh,
moment
yeah.
With the it's like it feels good to be able to help help my best friend and everything like that.
and Byron's like, thanks for bringing the truck to move the couch. Yeah. That was that was my whole thing. I was just like, I was making sure I was like, yeah, man, like this Saturday, I didn't have plans, but something's come up and a good friend needs me. And, when you're a member of a certain house and a friend needs you, you show up.
Yep.
And then, we didn't show up. And then like Sunday, Byron posted, hey man, thanks for coming over to my place and helping me move my couch. I'm like, hey man, no problem. Like I said, good friends in a house, gotta show up. Just stupid shit like that. And
that was fantastic. I loved that.
Yep.
and then we did like the whole like, and then that's where somebody was like, hey, that's where I think Dave was like, hey, I want this. And I think he pitched it to Richard, and Richard was like, you good with this? Because like you're not in good shape. And I'm like, I know, I'm terrible shape. Because I didn't want to, and I had come back to start and I wanted to come back and do some things, but COVID just got out of hand real quick again.
Yep.
Like I thought I was going to be able to come back and manage Joey, and so I did that 1 week as Joey's bro, the squirt bottle, making sure Joey had everything that he needed. I was rubbing him down, making sure he looked chill.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna get the babes afterwards. We're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna be bros. I bought some new I was gonna go for like full on my stuff didn't get here in time, and I bought all the stuff. She's like my fiance saw all the stuff. I've got the worst white suit with like neon pink. I was going for the Miami Vice Don Johnson shit.
Nice.
I was gonna
Very
bust
nice.
it out, and I was gonna have the spray bottle and be like, that's gonna be. And then I think somebody had like the one of my favorite memes was it was somebody spraying a cat or something. I was like, yes. I think it was Chris Fulmer.
Yeah.
Chris Fulmer was like, oh yeah, this is James Johnson in the future. It's just a bunch of spray, and I really enjoyed it. And that was working with Kirby was great in that aspect, because like we were trying to figure out a cool way to get Joey to go over cheap, and I was like, knock me off the apron, spray you. And so that was pretty fun, just using the stupid spray bottle. And I thought it would be great because it's so fucking hot in that building.
Yep.
And then, every now and then spraying at the crowd. They're going to love that.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm going to look like a dick for doing it. So it was a lot of fun. And anytime I can be a straight man who is homoerotically touching another man, that's going to get so much heat in Texas.
Yep.
Like, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And so, like, anytime I can spray a remotely attractive man and rub on his pecs, that's going to get a great reaction. So I love, and of course, you have to just, you have to play it straight.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it's straight.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. Like, so what? Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, all I'm doing is spraying the guy's chest. I'm rubbing some oil in because he's got to look jacked because, that's
Exactly.
my boy. And then I'm going to suck some dicks, and then we're going to go drink beer because, man!
I was gonna say, it's like that would fit right into the Metroflex. wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
totally. But,
You did come up in Metroflex, Jim,
I
didn't you?
did, yeah. I didn't come out. I came up. It's different. But yeah, I really enjoyed the thing I think I enjoyed the most about wrestling in my later stages was just teaming with Matt. And at the time, most people don't know this, but me, my ex-wife, Paige Turner, Matt and Athena all lived in the same house. We just called it Wrestling House. And we would stay up all hours of the fucking night watching wrestling, coming up with stupid shit, filming stuff that has never been seen. There's a picture of us with the Texoma tag titles, me and him completely nude, holding the Texoma tag titles over our crotches.
I think he released that.
I definitely
I feel
released
like
that.
I've seen that photo. I think it got
he
released.
definitely did. Yeah. I mean, we filmed so much stupid stuff. It was great. And that was kind of we had so much fun doing that, and and we edited that all together ourselves with literally my rudimentary knowledge of free downloadable editing software from Google. So it was just terrible.
So with all all the great vignettes and the stupid stuff y'all did, was it more you, was it Matt, or was it really a combination of like ideas and stuff?
It was just a combination. Half the time, like we didn't like. There was one where we cut the weird promo where we were like really into it, and then the second we hit record, we were like, "Hey, we are coming to get you." Like we did that promo, and that promo was off the cuff. First time, didn't talk about a single thing, just went with it. Just it was so stupid. Like it was great. Like afterwards, we're reacting, and Matt's like, "Oh man, I felt like I was Hawk and you were Animal," and I was like, "I felt like you were Hawk and there was a lot of different animals we were," and it was so great. Just and he was like, "Is this sweater Is this sweater charisma?" I'm like, "It's sweat on me. I think it's charisma on you." Like just stupid stuff like that, and we just came up with it and just kept going. Like even the just like, "Oh man, I'm gonna go take a shower." He's like, "Oh, we're gonna go shower again?" I just. Like just little things like that. That was all one take. Yeah. Just didn't discuss it. Just we feel it. Right. A lot of some of the things that we did as the Monster Hunter gimmick thing too was just one take too. Yep. We just came up with it like on the spot and just riffed. And it was just really fun.
So definitely you and Palmer are the best charisma together. You would think.
I think we get each other's sense of humor. Yeah. I think we would be terrible if someone wanted us to be a serious team together. That would be a mistake. Yeah. That'd be a horrible mistake because Matt would be like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm like, I'm gonna do what he did, but worse. Like it's just I can't. Like I don't think me and Matt could be a serious tag team. I think we can be a serious threat as a tag team. Right. I don't think we can be serious. We were even heels when we were doing some of the stupid bad promo stuff. Really? We were heels. Wow. And funny enough, the bad promo stuff did not get over at Texoma or Red River, whatever you want to call it.
Surprise!
Say what you will, but Red River fans are old school wrestling fans, yes. And if you try to play any type of like, oh hey, wrestling's kind of an act, so we're just bad actors. That's our gimmick, is we're just bad actors. If you try to play, they don't get that. They're just like, why ain't you stomping that man? Like, shit like that. Like, that's all they care about.
They're not going to like Dan They're not going to like Danhausen and Effie.
Oh, God. They're not going to like them. No, I mean,
they're not going to like Effie for different reasons.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah. Effie, well, it really depends because they loved Max Muscles. Yeah. And Max Muscles was literally just Effie if Effie was, like, pumped to 11 and fake and a racist, homophobic piece of shit on the inside. No. I don't understand Max Muscles. To be fair, he was his whole gimmick was he was a flamboyantly gay man, and he got over as a babyface, and he absolutely is a homophobe and is anti-LGBTQ and posts some of the most heinous things online. Wow! And I don't understand how you can take something like that. Mm-hmm. Play it as a babyface and actively hate it, yep. And online social media, promote against it. It's just it's so disrespectful in so many fucking ways. Right. Like projection maybe. I don't know, but I just all I know is that like everyone has a right to their own opinions, mm-hmm. And that's fine. And if you want to voice your opinions, also, that's okay. Just be prepared, because if you voice your opinions, then you get to have opinions voiced back at you. Yep. If you say something that makes people think that you're a piece of shit, then you have to deal with people thinking you're a piece of shit. Yeah, that's how that works. Mm-hmm. But like that, it's kind of one of those things. But like, it blows my mind how many people don't understand that. Yeah. But
so obviously you've had a great career. You've been in the ring with so many great talents.
I tried.
If you were to come back, which obviously it's wrestling, never say never. If you were, is there someone that you have an eye on? You're like, I really would love to have a match with this person.
Okay, so the reason I can't come back, and this is something that some people know, I have a heart condition. After I got a serious concussion a couple years back, I got a serious concussion during a match. I won't say how it happened or whatever. I got a very serious concussion, which caused bleeding in multiple portions of my brain. I missed, I think, 2 weeks of work from it. That's how bad it was. I literally couldn't drive. I was bedridden for the first 3 days. And I was out for about 2.5 months. I probably should have been out for longer. I didn't get cleared ever because I don't have the money to go back to the doctor. Unlike MPX champion Tatum Manning, I don't have good health care. So I went back and noticed almost immediately that for some reason I started having a very slow decline in my wind, and my energy. It seemed to be like sucking away at a much more rapid pace than I could recall. And it wasn't until 2019 I spent some time in a mental facility for lots of issues. I was diagnosed as bipolar and had a terrible psychiatrist who was putting me on bipolar medication every 2 weeks. I was on 13 different medications between January and June, which, by the way, you're supposed to give that like a month each time. And they put me on every 2 weeks. They'd switch me up, and it fucked me up. I was bedridden for a month after that. I missed 3 months of work. I spent my birthday in 2019, in a mental ward to just clear everything out. When I was there, the doctor gave me an EKG, and he said that I had some damage in my heart, and it looked like I had a couple cardiac events that he didn't know exactly why, but he explained that cardiac events can happen when there is a blood flow blockage or a blood flow leak in any of your veins. I explained to him about the thing, and he said, well, that could definitely cause a buildup that could cause your heart some excess, I forget the word he used, but basically could tax your heart. And then he asked me, so since that happened, do you ever remember a time when you were just all of a sudden very out of breath and you were lightheaded and you couldn't catch your breath? And I'm like, every time I had a wrestling match. And he said, yeah, it's just gonna, that's a bad thing. It's not something that gets better. It's
just not out of shape in cardio? There's something worse?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I try, and my fiance started me on a good walking regimen earlier this year, which did helped my wind a little bit, my cardio a little bit. She was smart. She started me something small, just walking, just decent paced walking, as opposed to like everything else I do. And like, all right, well, I'll just go back and do in-ring training.
Yeah.
Just boom, boom, boom. Because there's no better way to work on cardio than in-ring cardio. But that's really high.
That's explosive. Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm officially done. I didn't want to go out that way, but and like I was saying in my last couple of matches, I thank you for thinking that my final match with Joey was good and that I looked just as good as ever.
Yeah.
I will let you know that right at the beginning, I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm in better shape thanks to her, and I'm like, I knew I was in way better shape than I was whenever I came back for the match with Byron and Sagan. And so I was like, yeah, I'm good. I did the dive after the stupid tope to the outside. Did the stupid tope to the outside. Almost died because I caught my leg on the rope. But then, if you notice, right after that, I go to the corner. And if you notice, I don't get back up in my corner. I stay on like one knee. And I'm just like watching most of the match. I literally just couldn't get up. Like I got up on that turnbuckle. It's like, oh, fuck, okay. Deep breath, start breathing. Because what apparently happens is, because of my heart, whatever happens is blood flow, the oxygen level in my blood, once my heart starts pumping faster, it starts shooting less oxygen. And when my body parts get less oxygenated blood flow, it's like they become heavy and it's harder to do everything. It's like just squeezing my hand is like, must try, and things like that. And so that's what was starting to happen. And so I just waited around for that the hot tag. Got to make sure I'm there for all their spots, And so did the hot tag and got that. once I did the drop hold before I did the dive out and then the slide out kick, I was like, I have to run to the other side of the ring. I don't think I can do this. And I'm like, fuck it, we're doing it. And then for some reason, I don't know what happened, but like Exodus just either the second I touched him, he fell backwards or something, and I just ate that guardrail with my face, and then I scorpioned my back backwards. And for a second, I was like, all right, I'm just paralyzed. That's great. That's fantastic. I'm just paralyzed. Good. Awesome. Paralyzed. And then I was like, okay, nope. Gonna get up. Gonna finish it. And then, finished it off with that. But, yeah, that was probably not the smartest thing for me. I just wanted to, when I found out that MPX might be closing, I desperately wanted to be a part of it.
Right.
And I desperately wanted to say goodbye in my terms, in my ways. And then I found out, oh, it's just Kirby. And I'm like, Kirby was MPX.
Right.
So it's the same thing for me. So I had to be a part of it. Yep. I didn't mention anything about that because, it was Kirby's night to retire. Brent was retiring. I was like, we don't need a bunch of people saying, we don't need a bunch of people saying retiring. So that's whatever. Right. But, because of my health condition, which will not get better no matter what I do, unfortunately, I can definitely take medication to help it, and I am doing that to help it from getting worse. It is still progressing at a pretty quick rate, unfortunately. I get tired very, very easily. I'm talking showering, like washing your hair. At the end of washing my hair, I'm like, okay, all right, I shouldn't have used my hands that much. Shit. Like stupid shit like that, and so I need to take better care of myself. My fiance's helped me with that, but yeah, I am done from wrestling because of that. And that's something that I'm not ashamed of. Right. But I am gonna miss it. I desperately, I have tried multiple times to step away since I found out about this. And each time I was drawn back in by something else or something this, and this time I'm like, nope, not doing it at all. Because, again, my main thing is honestly, I don't care if I died wrestling, but I would really hate to be in a match and to have somebody have to protect me, to go out of their way to tone down their match to make sure that I'm safe. Right. And I don't want to do that. I think that's selfish. I think that's not right for professional wrestling. That's not right for the wrestlers. And I don't want to put anyone in the position of having to choose between having a good match and a safe match. And I won't do that. Yep. And so that's why I'm done. And it's hard for me because I still have the mind for it. Right. Richard and Kirby invited me to multiple times be like an agent or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Which
I know you do have the mind. Is it one of those where you want to work backstage?
Yeah, I can do it.
Do you feel it's too close and you're like, nope, I just really want to be in there?
It's a little bit of that, but what it is basically I am very passionate about the way I see something. And if it doesn't come off exactly as I see it, I feel like I failed miserably. Like it's my fault.
Yeah.
Like I didn't explain it well enough or things like that, but like in the reality, it's somebody else's timing is not my timing. Somebody else's psychology is not my psychology.
Or even like the manager roles and stuff like that.
That to me is too close to the ring.
Yeah.
If I'm in a manager now, I think I'm gonna want to get back in and do something.
Keep going around. You're gonna jump on the apron.
I'm gonna jump on the apron. I'm gonna be like, oh, I can take this move.
Right.
Oh, I can make this move look good. Yeah. I mean, I've watched matches with my fiance, and I said that like, oh man, I would love to take that move. Oh my god, I make that move look so cool. I can land on my face. It would look so good. But that's one of those things I don't think I can do. I mean, I've gotten and again, I also don't want to hurt anybody or be a problem for any of the wrestlers. Yeah. I think I have a little heat with Chandler Hopkins because I was agenting during his and Ryan Remington's best of three match. No. That's no. That was a completely different thing. It had nothing to do with me. No, but they had a series of matches. Chandler and Ryan had a series of 3 matches, which is where Ryan got the nickname Mr. Match of the Night.
Yep.
And I got to lay pretty much all the first 2 matches out, and like kind of maybe that was on me that I was like, the way, and maybe Ryan is a better example because I knew Ryan a little bit better than Chandler, and maybe it was the way I came off to Chandler. So I can take full responsibility for that if that's it. Maybe I came off as rude to Chandler, but Chandler would come up with doing things, and I would be like, wait, no, you don't want to do this because you want to build to this, and this, and this is going to get that reaction that you're looking for. And by the third one, Chandler's just like at the end, he's like, man, no, I'm just not doing what you say, and just walked off. I'm like, okay,
Jeez.
cool. And Chandler's hella talented. That guy's gonna get signed. If that guy's not, I don't know why he's not signed to AEW. I mean, I understand the difference in psychologies and things like that, but that guy would fit in perfectly well at AEW or Ring of Honor. He 100% would. He's got an amazing look. His athleticism and ability is second to none. I do think that he needs to put a little bit more stock in psychology, and if he would do that, he would be a can't-miss prospect for any professional wrestling organization on the planet.
At least from the things I've heard, and just kind of like you just said, I think part of it may be the psychology and also maybe attitude.
Yeah.
Like maybe
again, I don't know.
And granted, he may change. Who knows? But yeah,
I mean, after that, I've never had a problem with him. We've never discussed that, and I don't, and we've seen each other a couple times. Yeah. I did my miniature tribute to him when I had the match with Thunder Rosa, and I thought that was kind of funny. Yep. And I don't think he took that personally. So, but little things like that. But that's kind of the way that it is with me and when I'm agenting is I have this vision for this spot, and I just know this reaction it'll get, and if it doesn't come off exactly the way I want it, I feel like I failed. Even if it gets a good reaction, it's not as good as it should have been because the timing wasn't right on this, and because someone was out of place on this, and I didn't explain that part because I thought that maybe someone it's just to me it's common sense, but to someone else it's a completely different psychology. So it's stuff like that.
Michael Jordan had talked about that. Michael Jordan's like, I can't coach because I'll say something and I expect them to do what I can do, but no one can do what I can do. So
that's a very good way of putting it.
He's like, that's why I don't coach, because I'll get so mad because I'll be like, do this, and then I'll be like, I can do that. Why can't you? And he's like, well, fuck, because no one's me.
I mean, I guess that's the case in that. I mean, I wouldn't say by any means that I'm the most athletic or talented guy out there by far, especially nowadays. But it is hard to be there and be like, hey, let's do this. And then if you don't have the timing right and the positioning right and things like that, it doesn't come off as well. Yeah. And again, some people have different thought processes on that. So,
well, it's starting to get late. So thank you very much, James, for coming on.
Do you want me to at least say the nerd semen story real quick?
Right. You want to come on? That was the biggest thing.
Okay.
Everyone
That's the one. Everyone wanted to hear this nerd. Okay, so what happened was, I love anime. As clearly got a Naruto shirt on, even though it's not my favorite anime. I do love Naruto. So I went to anime or Acon, and they used to have a thing called Hentai Fest, which started at midnight and went for till 2:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And what it is it's basically a giant fucking movie theater sized room with a giant movie theater screen which plays anime porn, with literally like 300 people in the crowd. Jesus. And to explain this to wrestling fans, I want to let you know that this crowd is an ECW crowd. It's an ECW crowd watching animated porn. It's super amazing. It's super funny. And they have, just like an ECW, they have their spots that they react to. Same thing. So we're watching. Four? Yeah. So we're watching this one, and it's just, I guess this girl's got a crush on her school teacher who's like a dominant, and she's like submissive, and he's dominating or whatever. And she's like, I'll do anything for you. And he's like, anything? She's like, anything. And then he like turns his head, and then it shows like a school desk in the corner, and the crowd's like, yeah! She's gonna fuck her school desk! Like just stupid, insane, crazy yelling for that. And it's just like, yeah, that's what's happening. And so, they're just going crazy, and like every random, just generic porn thing that happens, they're like, yeah, like stupid things like they're chanting like suck his dick, like they're literally chanting.
You heard that at PWG too.
Yeah. But like they're chanting, and this is 300 people in a movie theater style room with chairs of rows and rows. And like there is a group, and I don't know why this is the way it is, but there's a group near the front, all dressed like pirates. And whenever there is an orgasm on screen, a giant pirate flag raises, and they wave it. And they just yell, "Yar!" This is the scene that I am in, and I am just like, this is also my first time being into anything like this. I've seen like maybe one hentai before, and it was like a GIF, and I was like, the fuck? And so like I have to see this. I'm like, what is going? And then I sit down, and this batshit crazy scene is unfolding in front of me. I'm like, what? Why? The pirate flag? What? Why is he chanting? What? It's like, oh. And then I'm also like, why are the back 3 rows like sparsely populated?
Yeah.
Like I come in and like everybody's sitting up front, but like the full back 3 rows are like 35 chairs. Ain't nobody sitting there.
God damn it, Tommy D.
Tommy, no. No.
We do not talk about we do not talk about Boku no Pico.
No.
We do not talk about Boku no Pico. Anyway, point is, so at the time, like, okay, me and my girlfriend at the time, who I'm going into this hentai fest with, we're like, I guess we could try to find spots up front, but look at all these spots. I'm like, I don't really feel like I don't understand what this is. I'm kind of embarrassed to be here.
You got a feeling something about the bed.
I was just like, I don't want to be like seen. It's just kind of like a weird, like it's like. I'm one of these weird guys. I'm sure there's guys out there that are just like talk with their old friends like, man, I was fucking this chick. Like, no, I can't. No, I do not like. I can't do that stuff. I can't. It's weird for me. So, being in a giant room, and by the way, I'm sure everyone's imagining, oh, there's 300 dudes in there. Like, no, lots of girls, men and women, like all the way. It was crazy insane. Like,
I think
did not
during
expect.
the time in which 14-year-old girls would walk around with bags that had "I love Yaoi" on it.
Yeah, and then they had the yaoi paddles.
Yeah.
Ask Livy about that. The yaoi paddle. Just ask Livy about the yaoi paddle. So I'm like, let's just get in the back. Oh, cool. And I sit down, and everything's kind of, we're like, all right, this is kind of weird. And so I'm experiencing this ECW style crowd, and I'm like, this is fucking funny. This is fucking awesome. And so like, you know how when you are, the MPX addicts understand what it's like to be in that atmosphere of like, okay, we're all in this together. We're all an awesome, fun having group. And so, like, that's the kind of vibe that was happening. Not that the MPX addicts like hentai. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm sure. That's not what I'm saying. But it was a very similar vibe of like, we're all this fun group, right? This is cool.
We're experiencing something together.
Yes, this is an experience, and this is a happening. Like, to me, it felt like it was like, this is a fucking, like, I felt like I was in another dimension, and this is some fucking weird, like, experience, like, nobody can prepare you for this. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is so funny. I need you to get up for a second. I need you to step out of the thing. So what happens is I'm like, okay, we can move up. Like, I saw some people leave, like, we can move up there, and like, see, and she's like, okay. And so I'm like, all right, let's go.
Oh, no.
And I just stop. And she goes, what's wrong? I go, we have to leave. And she's like, why? And I'm like, we have to go now. And I just go, and I just shuffle out like the Crypt Keeper or some shit. And I just run to the nearest bathroom that I know is there.
It won't come off.
And I just pump that water on all hot, and I'm just like, and I'm burning my hand, and I'm searing the flesh off if possible. And then I come out, and she's like, what happened? Are you okay? I go, I put my hand in it. And she's like, what? And I go, I went to get up, and I put my hand in it. And she goes, what? And I go, it was wet. It was warm. It was sticky. And she's just like, you did? And I go, I did. And it wasn't until after that year that I realized that, like, everyone knows not to sit in the back at Hentai Fest. Everyone, oh yeah, no one goes in the, like, the biggest joke is, like, if you want to see the best impersonation, like, the most miserable guy after a convention, it's the guy who cleans up after Hentai Fest. It's this, it's... eye. What the fuck? Oh, it's in my eye. God. Like,
Do you know how much a jizz mopper makes?
so that's what happened. That's the nerd semen story.
And that is what we're ending on, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have your tickets for Saturday night. And you know what? Also, make sure you catch me and Tony Snow talking Texoma after Texoma Wrestling tomorrow night. And thank you for...
Is hentai legal at the Perch?
Everything's legal at the Purge.
Sure, why not?
Do not sit in the back row at the Purge, apparently.
I think somebody should bring a Boku no Pico DVD for Tommy Dean.
Oh, okay. It's for Tommy.
For Tommy Dean.
For Tommy, okay.
He can break it in multiple pieces and use it to gouge Masada.
He's going to need something against Masada, so...
Keep it kayfabe, wrestling fans.
See y'all at the Purge!
Mark out.
This, right?